Hello and good evening. Welcome to Plainfield, Indiana, where the hometown Plainfield Quakers are here to defend home field against the visiting Mooresville Pioneers. Mooresville, obviously, the birthplace of the state flag of Indiana. The state flag, it was designed by Mooresville native Paul Hadley, who entered his design of the flag in the Centennial Celebration Flag Design Contest. The Indiana General Assembly then adopted the design of the flag in 1917 and added the word Indiana above the star to represent the state. The U.S. flag remained Indiana's state flag, and Hadley's design was recognized as Indiana's state banner until 1955, when the General Assembly approved Hadley's design as the official state flag of Indiana. Hadley was an avid watercolor painter, traveling around Europe painting pictures of landscapes. And there is also a middle school in Mooresville called the Paul Hadley Middle School of Mooresville. Welcome to tonight's broadcast. I'm Colin Bruns alongside my partner and friend Nathaniel Finch. Nathaniel, let's talk about tonight's matchup. What do you notice so far about these two teams?
Well, number 13 for Plainfield, Tavian Gaudia, has been lights out so far in these last two games. He's been eating up touches all game long for both of the weeks, and he's definitely going to be a big factor in the game as he's just a stud for the Pioneers.
Yeah, and the Pioneers definitely will have their hands full with Gaudia, and here come the Plainfield Quakers, the Red Pride, taking the field. Well, the Plainfield Red Pride have just taken the field. There is about 2 minutes to go until kickoff. Coin toss has already been decided, and the national anthem has already been played. And Nathaniel talking about the Plainfield Quakers, looking at their offense. There are multiple quarterbacks. They're under center last season as the departure of Ben Slayton really put a dent in their season hopes of potentially making a state championship. To put things into perspective for them, they had a total of 15 touchdown passes last season, and Slayton accounted for 14 of those through the first 6 games of the season. Right after that, their offense took a really big dive. But, of course, with Slayton being gone, this gives a chance for new quarterback Aiden Moyers, a sophomore, to step in and take over this team. He got his first win as a varsity starter last week in a 28-13 victory over Tri-West, where he was very efficient, completing 88% of his passes, going 15 of 17 for 110 yards and 1 touchdown. They played well against Avon, throwing 2 touchdowns and 1 interception, but of course the blowout loss to Avon was really it didn't really seem to faze Plainfield. They got back on their feet after that big victory over Tri-West. And last season, they only lost 1 game at home versus on the road, where they were 2-3. Mooresville was one of those teams that they beat on the road, and in very dominating fashion, too. They scored 40 points in the first half against Mooresville. And really, the Pioneers were just unable to keep up with the ground attack that Plainfield had. Gaudia was sensational in the performance against Tri-West last week, carried the ball 25 times, en route to 229 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. He has 270 yards on the year. What does Mooresville need to do to slow him down?
They definitely got to limit his big gains, so they got to keep the outside protected, just get him to go right up the middle where they can defend it a lot easier, keep him from being able to bounce outside for big gains.
Right, and Gaudia really got done against Tri-West in every fashion that you could think of. He went up the middle, he went to the outside, he had a lot of big gains. Plainfield really allowed Tri-West to get back in the game late in the fourth quarter. Tri-West came storming back, being down 21-0. They then cut the lead 21-7, and then they cut it down 21-13. They missed the PAT that would have put them within 1 touchdown and an extra point away from tying it, but then Gaudia, of course, stormed into the end zone in the last few seconds of the fourth quarter to really just seal the deal. And right here, the Plainfield kick team kick return team is out on the field, so Plainfield will get first possession, and Mooresville will defer to the second half. So kicking off for Mooresville, number 8, Christian Swigert. And back to receive for Plainfield, number 27. That is Logan Burden, who's the backup running back to Gaudia. And already, both sides are pretty hyped up here. The student section of Plainfield looks like camouflage night for them. They are excited to get this one underway and put an end to Mooresville's undefeated streak so far of 2 games. And the kick is away. This one is going to sail just at the 10-yard line. It is returnable. And up the middle. Right there goes number 25. That is Tyson Gibson. Puts the Quakers in very good field position. It is 1st and 10 with the ball on the 32-yard line in the middle of the field. Mooresville's defense is out onto the field now. A little bit of a story. Their defense really fell apart. Mooresville started off the season last year on an 8-game losing streak, an 0-6 in conference. Their defense surrendered an average of 53 points per game during that. And Moyers with the carry up the middle. He breaks away and picks up a big first down for Plainfield. Actually, it wasn't Moyers. That was number 14, the wide receiver, Cade Ritter, with the carry. He puts Plainfield at the 50-yard line, close to the 50-yard line. Another option. Gaudia fumbled the football. And then Ritter was able to get it back from the defensive lineman who recovered the fumble.
That fumble, they went right into number 5's chest, and he just couldn't get a hold of it. Drops it right back into Plainfield's hands. We'll start second down in about 11.
So now Aiden Moyers, the quarterback, has checked in for Plainfield on his first play of this series, and already a first down. Now facing 2nd and long, 2nd and 11 to go, with the ball spotted at the 44-yard line. And a quick pass over the middle to Cade Ritter. That one is good for a first down for Plainfield.
Ritter's already getting a lot of these touches so far. He's touched the ball on every play, on every offensive play for Plainfield.
Yeah, so far we have seen a lot of run-pass option plays with Gaudia in there. Moyers in pistol formation with the receiver split out to his right side. He tried to get the defense to jump, but now he's going to trot to the front of the line, look to the sideline. Get the play call, so now he resets into his position. Snap on first down. They hand it off to Gaudia. Gaudia working his way up the right side. He gets a big gain, and he's still fighting forward. Gaudia with some heavy running early.
This could be a long night for Mooresville as their defense is already giving up huge gains. We haven't even seen a third down yet as this Plainfield offense is turning out yards, getting conversions on 1st and 2nd down.
2nd and 5 to go. Ball spotted at the 39-yard line. First quarter in, 10 minutes to go. Moyers giving the play call. He's got 3 receivers split out to the near side on the left. Gaudia's in front of him. He's got a quick pass. He pumps once and he fires over the left side. That is complete and caught for a first down again by Gage Henry. Wide receiver picks up a big first down. Ball spot at the 28-yard line. Good play.
Once again, we've got another big play, a nice first down gain.
Right, Mooresville needs to limit these big plays. Their defense surrendered a lot of points last season, but they ended up improving when they went on a 4-game winning streak to close out the season. They ended up giving up 29 points per game. Gaudia with the carry this time on first down. And there's a stoppage of play as one of the Plainfield offensive linemen's helmets flew off. That's number 77. That's Jackson Spears, 6'1", 260-pound offensive lineman, the junior. There's 9:23 to go in the first quarter. Second down and 6. Ball on the 24-yard line of Mooresville. Plainfield driving early Low snap to Moyers. He steps up in the pocket. He gets out to the left side. He's going to be dragged down for a sack by number 75. That's Kite Connor. That's Connor Kite. The junior defensive lineman, 6 foot, 235 pounds, swings Moyers to the ground.
This will be a third down of the game, the first third down of the game.
Moyers is going to rush to the sideline. They're going to bring Ritter back in. He is going to go out wide. Gaudia is going to take the snap. We saw this formation a lot last week against Tri-West. They flick it back to Ritter. Ritter's got a man wide open, and that is caught by Gage Henry. Touchdown, Plainfield. Botched coverage from the Mooresville defense, and it puts 6 on the board for the Quakers. They strike first early with 8:30 to go.
What we saw there was a wildcat play by the running back. Gaudia takes the direct snap from the shotgun, hands it off to his receiver on the reverse, who runs out and makes a nice pass to a wide-open receiver for a touchdown.
And everyone thought that was going to be a good run play to the outside, but then Ritter came back for the pass, and Gage Henry got behind the defense and fooled him. That extra point is good. So a 7-0 lead so far for the Plainfield Quakers here at home field, and the Mooresville defense surrenders another touchdown.
This Mooresville Pioneer team is going to have a hard time defeating this Plainfield team if they're going to keep giving up big gains over and over. We already have a score for Plainfield. We've just started playing.
Well, the Mooresville defense, of course, last season when they played Plainfield at Mooresville, they surrendered 40 points in the first half. Eli Bunch had a touchdown and 2 interceptions for the offense of Mooresville. Their kick return team is on the field now. Going back to receive this one. This will be number 13, Braden Evans. Also back to receive it. This will be number 14. That is Gavin Evans. And that kick is away there after Plainfield scores on their opening drive. That goes back into the end zone for a touchback, as Evans had to retreat to grab it. So Mooresville will take over 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line. And Nathaniel, what do you think Mooresville should do here on this opening drive?
They definitely have to establish their run game. With this field, this turf is wet after some downpour right before the game. So the running game is going to be important for both teams throughout the game.
Right, and we saw there Plainfield started going with a few run plays of their own with Cade Ritter, try and get big chunks of yards. They got a first down early on without even putting Moyers in, and then Moyers finished off the drive with a couple passes over the middle and then to the left side. Right, this time they hand off directly up the middle and stuffed by the Plainfield defense after a gain of about 3. Right there, number 24 gets the call as James Mabry. James Mabry, a little more about him. He returns in the backfield after a huge week against Danville where he averaged just above 7 yards a carry on his way to 2 touchdowns. And Mabry struggled against Plainfield, only carrying the ball 8 times for 5 yards last year. I think he needs to get some more touches this year against the same team. What do you think, Nathaniel?
I definitely agree. If Mooresville's going to have any kind of success against this Plainfield team, they're definitely going to need to run with their strengths.
Right here, a pass to the outside on the right. That is complete to number 11, John Einman. Einman, the leading receiver for Mooresville. He looked to him to get a lot of touches tonight. He leads the team in receptions this year, just like he did last year.
So far throughout 2 games, this receiver already has 11 receptions for 209 yards, an average of 19 per catch.
Very good numbers for Einman. Under center, Carson Goodman, senior quarterback. They hand off to number 24 of Mooresville. He gets a big chunk of yardage. James Mabry, Jr., with near first down territory. Big carry. The ball will be spotted just at the 40-yard line on the far side hash of the left side of the field.
As I mentioned for Plainfield earlier, they need to make sure that their running back doesn't get these big gains sweeping out to the outside, and that's what we just saw here.
So right here on 2nd and 1. Mabry's in the backfield. Pass by Goodman. That's complete to Evans, and Evans streaking down the sideline on the left side. He picks up a big first down. He gets across the 50 and the 45. This one's going to be spotted close to the 40. That's spotted at the 43-yard line of Plainfield. Good pass there, clean pocket, quick throw from Carson Goodman out to Braden Evans for the first down reception. He got a little bit of a screen on that, a little bit of a blocking in front of him, and he was able to convert on the short play and make it into a big play. Goodman with the snap. They hand directly off to Mabry. Mabry with a big run. One man to beat, and then he gets wrestled down after picking up a big first down for Mooresville. So both teams marching on their first drive of each series, and Mabry has carried the ball well.
That he has, and if this team's going to have success, either team for that matter, they're going to have to turn out a lot of rushing yards today, set up their passing game nicely.
So 1st and 10, ball on the 25-yard line of Plainfield. Goodman and Mabry have been very impressive so far on this opening drive of the opening series. Goodman in the I formation, direct handoff to Mabry. Mabry, nothing there going for him. He gets stuffed by the big defensive lineman of Plainfield. He's tackled down by number 54. That's Caleb Boer, the 5'10", 260-pound defensive lineman. And Nathaniel, so far Mabry has not been contained. What do you think Plainfield needs to do to change up their defense a little bit here?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, they need to keep their outside of their defense protected. They can't let easy big gains come.
Goodman floats one for the near sideline to Braden Evans. That's incomplete over the outstretched hand of him. It's close to the end zone. That brings up 3rd down. Be 3rd and 8 with the ball on the 24-yard line. The 23-yard line. Goodman trots back out to the huddle. Mabry is still in the backfield for Mooresville. Goodman under center with a single back formation. He's rolling outside to his left. He throws on the run. Caught by Braden Evans for a first down, and that keeps the drive alive for Mooresville. Evans has picked up 2 first downs on this opening drive, and he has not been contained so far by the Plainfield defense. What do you think they need to do?
They need to keep their tight coverage, definitely get their pass rush going. The easiest way to stop a good passing team is to rush the passer.
5:21 to go in the first quarter. 1st and 10. Ball down inside the 20-yard line. The handoff to Mabry. Delayed handoff. He tries to bounce it to the outside of the left. Hurdles over a defender. And he is down for a 2nd down. But not before he could pick up about 5 yards on that play. Let's spot the ball inside the 10-yard line. Ball's at the 9. Second and goal to go. Shotgun formation. Goodman with a quick pass. That one is complete, and trying to get into the end zone is John Einman. Einman with his 2nd reception of the game so far. They get that one inside the 5. They're down to about the 3-yard line. And Nathaniel, what do you think Mooresville should do here on 3rd down? Should they try to punch it into the end zone with a run, or should they trust Goodman, try to use his arm?
Well, it is 3rd and short, so I would suggest a run. They haven't had much success inside, so maybe some kind of fake play to the outside.
And they're right there, a quick snap handoff to Mabry. Mabry trying to barrel his way in the end zone. Goodman was signaling for the touchdown, but it is short. They're going to spot him right at the 1-yard line. And I believe if you're Mooresville, try to go for it here. They do get the first down. So fresh set of downs, 3 chances to try and break into the end zone here for Mooresville, and right at the 1 yard line, look to see they're going to hand this one off to Mabry and let him punch it in.
You got inches until the end zone. You just got to punch it in, maybe even a quarterback sneak. Just nice, easy yards. You only need a couple for a touchdown.
Goodman drops to the line. Hand off to Mabry. Mabry is in. Touchdown, Mooresville. With 5 seconds on the play clock, Mooresville strikes. And now they're an extra point away from tying the football game. They're with 3:29 to go in the first quarter.
These two teams are flashing their scoring potential. Already a score for each drive just in the first quarter.
So a little bit of a mixed option of plays to get down the field. A lot of handoffs to Mabry, who is already above his last season numbers against Plainfield. And this PAT, of course, is good. So a tie game here at Plainfield High School, 7-7. Early on, 3:29 to go in the first quarter. And Plainfield obviously had a very good drive last time out. They used Gaudia in a number of ways. A lot of bite plays that really made the defense think he was getting the ball a lot, because he did get the ball a lot last week against Tri-West. Got the ball 26 times and rushed for over 200 yards. So, yeah, obviously you'd expect him to get the ball. But Nathaniel, Plainfield has some weapons on this team.
They do. They had a nice job getting their receiver, Cade Ritter, involved.
Ritter, of course, with that touchdown pass to Gage Henry. And, he got kind of lost behind the defense of Mooresville, and Mooresville completely just forgot about him. If you're the defense, you got to have to tighten up on those passes, because Aiden Moyers is very efficient, and if you're not careful, you're going to make these other players look very efficient as well.
Exactly, and maybe that's a good thing for these teams.
Good thing to have a lot of options. This kick is away. It's a very short kick. That's going to be caught just inside the 20. And number 50 returns it for Plainfield. That's Ryan Kurt. Kurt with a good gain on that return. That ball's going to be spotted at the 33-yard line. First down and 10 for Plainfield. The offense still in the hole, and the Mooresville defense is out. What do you think Mooresville needs to do to change up their defensive scheme here to try and slow down Plainfield?
Well, as we've seen, we've got Gaudia just bruising it in right through the middle, so maybe try to tighten up on the defensive line, get some more tackles up front so he doesn't gain so many yards.
First and 10 for Warriors, pistol formation for him. Straight handoff to Gaudia. Gaudia trying to break away, gets a short gain on that play, maybe a yard. And right there, Nathaniel, like you said, maybe tighten down on the defensive line. They did right there. That's like a gain of about 3 on that one, 2nd and 7.
If they're going to have any chance of winning this game, they're going to have to keep that up, keeping the Quakers' offense in check.
Warriors in shotgun with 3 receivers to his left side, 1 to his right. Gaudia is also to his right, so that looks like a screen pass for Ritter. Ritter trying to slip past one of his blockers, and he gets wrestled down. There's a short gain on that play, maybe about 2 yards. That brings up 3rd down.
This Mooresville team is already showing improvement over their last drive, stopping this Pioneer team, stopping the Quaker team from getting any kind of yardage here. Bring up 3rd down and about 5.
So 3rd and 5 to go with the ball on the 38-yard line. Plainfield goes back to the shotgun formation. This time they flip the 3 receivers to the right side of Warriors. He's going to pass. Steps up in the pocket, rolls out to his left side, throws over the middle. That's complete for a first down to Cade Ritter. Ritter with some juke move, sheds a tackle. Ritter finally brought down at the 20-yard line. Cade Ritter with a good gain already. Big plays from Ritter. That's a first down for Plainfield. And a great pocket movement by Aiden Moyers, a sophomore, likes to use his legs. We know that. And he can definitely break free. The contain has not been there so far for the defensive line of Mooresville. And what do you think they should look to maybe put a spy on Aiden? Right here to Burden. Burden gets a big chunk of yards right there. That's about on the first down play. That'll pick up about 5. So it'll be 2nd down and 5 for Plainfield. And right there already alternating the running backs in. Last week, Tavian Gaudia barely came out of the game against Tri-West, and we saw a little bit of Burden. And so far, Logan Burden, it's his first carry of the game. That's good for 5 yards.
It's definitely good for this Plainfield team to have depth along the running backs. They're not giving it to just one guy and tearing him out.
Right there, the shotgun snap. They go to the near side, and right there, the reception by Jack Beebe, number 6. He was popped immediately by number 9, Dominic Oldham.
This Quaker team, they've been throwing a lot of quick, short passes, letting their guys go and do their work, get big gains off of these short passes.
So right there, a first down inside the 15-yard line. And on that tackle as well was James Mabry. This time, man in motion, Gaudia takes a direct handoff. He works up the right side of the offensive line, and he picks up a short chunk there of yardage. Be 2nd down and 6.
Once again, this interior defense for Mooresville's holding their own on the second drive for Plainfield.
So with 22 seconds to go, tie ball game so far 7-7 on the board. For both teams, obviously the touchdown run by James Mabry of Mooresville, and then the touchdown pass from Cade Ritter right there. Moyer's on the rollout. He finds his target for a touchdown. Pass complete to Seth Weininger for his first score, and Aid Moyers with his first touchdown pass of the game.
That stops the clock with 5 seconds left in the first quarter. Score is 13-7 pending the extra point.
Plainfield averages 20.5 points per game, and they have 13 right now. Their opponents average 28.5, and their defense so far has given up 7. Right here, the extra point coming, and that is good. So so far both drives, there's been 3 drives so far, all have resulted in touchdowns for both teams. And we'll see if Mooresville can respond here, and with 5 seconds left in the first quarter, 14-7 score for the Plainfield Red Pride. They have been sensational so far here. They've picked up yardage. This really hasn't been a battle of defense. It's more been a battle of offenses. Which one can keep up?
Yes, that is true. And in any football game, defense wins championships is what they say. But if you can get it done on offense, then there you go. This could be a huge shootout for both teams. Numbers soaring into the 30s and 40s, hopefully.
Exactly right. And, Plainfield, both their touchdowns have been passing touchdowns, the one from Ritter to Gage Henry, the 2 receivers connecting for the score to put Plainfield up on the board 7-0. And then the ground and pound game of Mooresville to set up the touchdown for James Mabry. And Carson Goodman was really efficient on his opening drive. And he got the Mooresville Pioneers all the way down the field, and some good clutch receptions from Braden Evans. And it kept setting up first downs, and then they got a fresh set of downs at the 1-yard line. They were able to punch it in. Let's see what they do here on this drive. There is, of course, 5 seconds left, so we will obviously go into the second quarter with a 14-7 Plainfield lead, unless something crazy happens here for Mooresville. And Evans with that, and the kick team looks like they're going to... Oh, he breaks a tackle, and now he's got blockers in front of him. One man to beat. He beat him. Going down the far sideline. He's got somebody after him. He's not going to be caught. Touchdown, Mooresville. John Einman with the return. And as time expires in the opening quarter, a 13-14 score.
Yeah, Colin, as soon as you says, unless something crazy happens, of course something crazy had to happen.
And boy, something crazy did happen. The block, he shed the tackles. Looked like that kick was covered up well by Plainfield. He was able to slip through the defenders, and he got a couple blockers out in front of him. Then he beat the kicker. And that extra point is good. So a tie ball game here through one. 14-14 the score. The big kick return by John Iman. Plainfield had a kickoff return the last time these two teams played late in the fourth quarter, which was a 92-yarder. This one was taken from well inside the 20-yard line, and he just broke free on the right side, and then he reverses field position down the left sideline, takes it all the way. And Nathaniel, just what happened there?
Well, so when he fielded the ball, he caught it above his head and then started running lateral rather than downfield. He came over and turned on the burners and just beat everybody on that defense, slipped through the cracks, had a nice touchdown on that play.
It was really amazing to see just a lot of over-pursuing from the Plainfield Quakers. They just weren't able to get their hands on him, and Iman just slipped through the tackles, was able to just go straight down the sideline. He put 6 on the board. 14-14 ball game with 12 minutes set on the clock. And the kickoff now for Mooresville on the way. This one goes downfield. That's going to go into the end zone for a touchback. Plainfield will start their drive at the 20-yard line after the big kick return from John Iman. And so far, both teams not letting up here.
Both of Mooresville's kickoffs have both been touchbacks, so that could come in handy having that kicker with a big leg.
I mean, last season against Mooresville, the Pioneer offense only mustered 14 points against the Quakers, and they turned the ball over 3 times, but so far this year they've been very efficient. Mooresville has been on a tear the first 2 weeks. They defeated Lebanon in their opening week by a large margin, scoring over 40 points in that game. Gaudia with the carry right here, tried to get past try to stiff-arm the defender. He's brought down in the backfield. A flag flies in at the end of the play there, but Mooresville, their opening week, They started off 2-0, a dominating victory against Lebanon, 46-7, and then a 2-point win over Danville, the 3A semi-state runner-up and home of Ben Slayton now. In the victory over Lebanon, Carson Goodman had 3 touchdown passes and 257 yards through the air, and John Iman had a huge game with over 150 receiving yards on 5 receptions and 2 touchdowns for him. And in the Danville win, it was the power running of James Mabry that carried the Pioneers to the win with 2 touchdowns and 151 yards on the ground to outdo former Plainfield quarterback Ben Slayton through 4 touchdown passes. And this time, Gaudia with the carry. Big gain on that play after the penalty. That's a first down run for Gaudia. They're going to spot the ball at the 31-yard line.
I think it's safe to expect a lot of these big runs by Gaudia this game, as he's done all season and all year last year.
Yeah, Gaudia started off the season kind of slow against Avon, and Avon is one of those power teams that you expect to be in the state championship this year. Right there, Gaudia with a carry, a little tripped up at the line of scrimmage by number 58. That's Jacob Vaughn of Mooresville, the defensive lineman. And Gaudia runs hard. And he runs with a lot of power, especially for his height. He's 5'4", 170 pounds. And 170 pounds is actually pretty big for somebody who's 5'4". And right here, the carry to Burden. Burden trying to work his way up the left side of the offense. Big chunky yardage there, about 5 yards on that play. Sets up a third down. Third down and 1. Third down and about 2. That is. Ball's on the 38-yard line.
So bring up 3rd and short for the Pioneers. They should have no problem picking this up, as they haven't had problems all night.
And the Mooresville defense stacking the box here. They send the blitz, and Burden gets the call, and he is hammered at the line of scrimmage. The Mooresville defense sends the house, and it pays off. Sets up a 4th and 1. Right here, looks like Mooresville is going to go with some more size up front. They bring in number 62. That is Robert Gentry, the O-lineman, or the defensive lineman and O-lineman. He's a junior, 5'8", 275 pounds up front, four-man front. And it looks like a timeout is going to be taken by Mooresville. So let's see. We'll see here what Plainfield does on 4th and short. But right now we're going to take a break for just a moment. Plainfield football is brought to you by Bailey and Wood Mortgage Lender, J.P. Brands of Caliber Home Loans, Larry Good Homes, Gunnell Financial, Indy Home Experts, Haynes Roofing, Siding and Gutters, 84 Lumber, and CAC Body Shop. J.P. Brands of Caliber Home Loans is a proud supporter of Plainfield football. They offer many types of home loans, including conventional, FHA, VA, USDA, and more. Caliber keeps and services nearly all of its own loans and was the #1 mortgage lender nationally in 2017. As ranked by Scotsman Guide, learn more today at www.caliberhomeloans.com/jpbrenz or call 317-414-2743. Back at Plainfield High School, and Nathaniel, Plainfield has had a lot of success with the ground game so far. You think they try to punch it forward for a first down here?
I'd say so, and they could always go to that quarterback sneaker for just a yard or two.
Right here, they're going back to that Wildcat formation. Gaudia takes a direct handoff. He's got a first down, spins off a defender, and he is run down after he breaks away across the 45-yard line, sets up at about the 47.
We could tell it wasn't going to be a quarterback sneak from the beginning because our quarterback stayed on the sideline as Gaudia took it from the Wildcat position.
Well, Plainfield does love to go to that formation, though it looks like a Wildcat, and Gaudia usually takes most of the direct handoffs, and he races right up the middle. And for a big chunky yardage, Moyers on first down. That pass is complete to number 6, Jack Beebe, a 5'10" junior, with the reception there for about 7 yards. Sets up a 2nd and 3. Right here, Plainfield goes quick. They've had a lot of quick passes so far, Nathaniel. They've fired it out to the flats a few times and in on the slant routes, and Mooresville hasn't really been able to cover it. Here the carry for Gaudia. Gaudia runs into a defensive lineman close to first down yardage. Looks like it is enough for the first down.
As I mentioned earlier, the easiest way to stop the pass is to bring the pass rush, but the easiest way to stop the pass rush would be to be throwing these quick passes that you can get the ball out before the defense has a chance to get into the backfield.
How about that first down here for Plainfield? They keep their drive alive. So we haven't seen a punt so far in this game, Nathaniel. It's really been an all-out shootout. And Einman was able to return it for a big, what looked like a 98, not close to a 98-yard return, but it was definitely a 90-plus yard return. Set up a touchdown to set the tone basically for the first quarter. 14-14 score, 8:27 to go. Moyers goes long, intended for Cade Ritter. He's sandwiched between two Mooresville defenders. That's Mabry. And also in on that coverage, number 14, Gavin Evans. So, Nathaniel, they tried to sit back in the pocket a little bit for Moyers, and he tried to fire one, thread the needle, but the defense was there to cover that one up.
Yes, he did force the pass. It was kind of a wobbly pass, and it was probably a ball that shouldn't have been thrown as he got his receiver put in danger out being sandwiched by two other defenders.
They hand off to Burden. Burden busting his way up the middle. Power run for first down yardage. Gain of 13 on that play. Sets up big first down. Gavin Evans there to bring him down. So far here, Logan Burden with some good running. And Gaudia has also complimented as well. So right here, Nathaniel, what do you think they do?
Well, it's 1st and 10. I could see easily a run play up the middle.
And right there they do. They hand off to Burden again, and Burden this time goes nowhere. It's wrapped up and stacked by the defensive line.
Before that carry, the Quakers have had quite a bit of few pass plays. So it's nice to see them mix a little run in there, keep the defense on their heels.
And Camden Schmidt with the stop there for Mooresville. The Pioneers trying to hold strong, 2nd down and 9 for Plainfield. Shotgun snap. Moyers pumps and he fires towards the end zone. That one is caught. What a catch. Set up a 1st down and goal by Gage Henry.
That was another throw into double coverage, and this receiver just turns around, pops his hands up, takes a nice catch, and goes right to the ground.
And this time Moyers and Henry come off the field. It looks like they might go back to the Wildcat formation here for Gaudia, with good 1st down position at the 5-yard line. Looks like they're going to try to punch this one in the end zone with Gaudia. Wildcat formation, Ritter. And Gaudia with his first touchdown of the game.
Untouched. Right through the middle of the defense.
Tavian Gaudia from 5 yards out streaks into the end zone untouched. High stepping his way to 6.
Mooresville can't just let him run through their defense all day long. They got to stop him, at least meet resistance at the line of scrimmage. They cannot let him run right through him every play.
The extra point looming already, 20 points on the board for the Quakers. Still a 1-score game. That kick is up. It is good.
That defensive lineman had about 1 step until he would have blocked it. Maybe if he reached his hands out a little bit more, it could have been a blocked kick, but it ends up going through the uprights.
So a great reception there by Gage Henry to set up the 1st down touchdown play for Tavian Gaudia in the Wildcat formation that the Quakers oh so love. Already 3 touchdowns scored for the Quakers here in the first half, 6:50 to go. And 5 touchdowns total from both teams, 2 from Mooresville. The return from John Iman.
Of course, you can't blame this Plainfield team for 11 this Wildcat. Any formation where you can get your star player as many touches as possible, that's where you're going to get the most success.
And already Mooresville has tied their point total. They scored against Plainfield last season, but they've had a lot of success on their last few drives. Haven't seen a point yet. Both drives for Mooresville resulted in scores. Well, of course, one of them wasn't really a drive. It's more just a crazy play and a great play that John Iman was able to make. Let's see if this time the Plainfield kick team can cover this one up. Iman is back to receive along with Evans. That kick is a short squib right up the middle. That one is caught by number 45, and he is walloped. And on that kick was Brecken Green. He is swallowed up by one of the Plainfield defenders. Sets up a 1st down outside of the 20-yard line.
Yeah, number 43 there for Plainfield. Wanted to make sure that this is not going to be another big return. He swallowed him up before he got a big gain.
Of course, Mooresville with good position to start their drive. They're at the 28-yard line of their own. This is the first time Carson Goodman has been on the field for a little bit, along with Mabry, going shotgun formation with 3 receivers split out to his right side. Goodman fires on that screen pass up the middle, and Einman racing ahead across 45-yard line, close to the 50. Einman with the big reception there to set up a 1st down on the first play of the drive.
So far in just 2 games, Einman's already had 209 yards, 104 per game. So he's definitely a big part of this Mooresville offense.
And Iman was their leading receiver last season. Looking at the receiving numbers, he led all receivers with 13 touchdowns and over 1,500 yards as a junior. He averaged 16.7 yards per catch. They flick it this time to Evans on the outside to the right. He shifts his way through the defense, tries to reverse field position, and he does! He breaks away from the defense! Touchdown, Mooresville. Braden Evans.
It's hard to tell if this is a nice offensive performance by both teams or just awful defenses. They've given up big play after big play after big play.
Well, poor tackling has definitely been the issue for Plainfield so far. They gave up what looked like a pretty well corralled play. They had Evans on the right side of the football field covered up, and he just reverses field position, just streaks away, gets blockers in front of him, and he's gone.
Yeah, both of these teams, they've been throwing short passes, letting their guys turn on the boosters and run for big gains time in and time out.
Christian Swigert with the kick. And that one is good. So already Mooresville sticking it to the man. 21-21 score with 6 minutes to go in the first half. And right there, Nathaniel, I think that Plainfield just had some pretty poor arm tackling there. They need to really get down and run through these offensive players for Mooresville. I mean, it just looked like a really bad tackling fest.
Yeah, and that was a big problem on that kickoff return. He was able to slip through the cracks, get a huge touchdown gain, even though Plainfield appeared that they had the play covered up and they had him stopped. They didn't, and he ended up scoring, much like this passing play right here.
Swigert has got it teed up, ready to go. And, of course, Plainfield has to figure something out here, but their offense has been firing on all cylinders. See if they can take the lead once again. That's a touchback.
Mooresville with 3 touchdowns on the game. All 3 of their kickoffs after have been touchbacks. Huge leg from their kicker.
And the Mooresville defense definitely has a chance to try and force Plainfield to get their first punt. We haven't seen any punts so far in the game, and credit that to great offensive execution, but also credit to poor tackling of both teams. Gaudia has run wild all over the Mooresville defense. Moyers has been throwing darts, and a lot of the receivers have just been making big plays for Plainfield. And on the flip side, Mabry has set up a lot of good positions for Mooresville, and then great passes from Goodman and great play by his receiver, Einman. They hand off this time to Gaudia. Gaudia muscling his way past a few defenders. He's still running ahead. First down yardage for Tavian Gaudia. 14-yard gain on the play.
This running back Gaudia, he's got 5 guys on his back, and he just keeps churning through. He needs his first down. He gets his extra yards for the move the chains.
We talked about him being a strong runner. I mean, he is a very undersized running back, standing at 5'4", 170 pounds, but he has just been a tank. And this time he gets the call again and trots ahead for about 4 yards on that play. They're going to wave the clock dead. 21-21 score, 5:35 to go in the first half. And the Quakers are still marching. Big first down run from Gaudia to set up a second down and 7.
A lot of the success for these two teams, you got to credit to the nice play calling by both coaches, keeping the defense on their toes.
You're exactly right. Both coaches know what to do with these players, this offense. I mean, on the defensive side of the ball, it doesn't really look like they have a game plan set up. Both teams have just been crazy on the offensive end. And right here, hand off to Logan Burden, who gets a good down block from his offensive lineman to set up a great first down. The trap block by number 74 right there. That's Dakota Sanders, the junior offensive lineman, to set up a big hole for Burden.
5 minutes and dropping on the scoreboard.
And a third down looming for Plainfield. They go shotgun formation. Looks like they might throw this one. They do. Pumps once. Moyers with pressure coming. They set up a screen to Cade Ritter. Ritter sidesteps the defender. He has a first down and a lot more. Poor tackling yet again. He's brought down. There's a flag that flies in at the end of the play. Nevertheless, it is a big first down.
As you mentioned, some more poor arm tackling. This guy just weaves through the defense. And as soon as he hits the ground, there is a flag that is called.
Well, it was great mobility by Ritter to sidestep the defenders. He got his stiff arm out there and was able to shrug off a few guys, and he trots ahead for a big first down. They do call holding on the offense. Still a first down, though, for Plainfield, but they are set back 10 yards. So it is still a Plainfield first down, but of course, the big play from Ritter is going to be set back a little bit. Nevertheless, they get a fresh set of yards at the 48-yard line on their own side of the 50. Warriors goes long here, and it's complete. Big first down play to Brigham West. And that right there, James Mabry saved the touchdown. He got burned. And already another big pass to set up a first down right here. Big handoff to Gaudia. Gaudia with some space. And he is in. There's no signal yet so far, but it is a touchdown. Gaudia fumbled it in the end zone, but it was recovered by Gage Henry for a Plainfield touchdown. Wow, crazy events so far here. Both offenses just keep on firing and punch after punch after punch. Plainfield with their big run game to get a lot of these touchdowns. They've, correct me if I'm wrong, I think they've only had, one touchdown pass so far?
Just about so. These last 2 touchdowns for Plainfield have both been from the running back punching it up the gut. Barely touched on that last one.
Right there, the PAT is good. So right there, 28-21 score, 4:15 to go in the opening half of play. And a really different game than what we saw a year ago. The Quakers just buried Mooresville, and they kept on going throughout the first half. 40 points in the first half of a football game, and you don't even allow your opponent to get above 14. But right here, they've given up 21 points in the first half, and they've scored 28. So the defense has definitely taken a dip. And looking at Mooresville, their numbers last year were very inconsistent. They surrendered 53 points per game during that losing streak that we talked about, the 8-game losing streak, and the offense averaged just above 21 points per game. Then in the final part of the year, their production increased. The offensive numbers soared from 21 points to 38 in the final 4 games, and the defense went from giving up 53 to 29. So still not a great point margin on the defensive side, but a big improvement, nearly 30 points shaved off, and that kick sails out of bounds. Flag is thrown. And that's still going to be a first down for Mooresville. Both student sections going back and forth at each other with chants. And unfortunately, Mooresville's postseason run ended before they could bring a sectional championship to the birthplace of the Indiana State flag. They reached the sectional championship, and they were defeated by Greenwood.
Nobody could have expected this Mooresville team. They had such a bad regular season to come out of nowhere, put on the Jets for the last 4 games, and make it all the way to the sectional championship.
And it's definitely hard for the Mooresville defense. They lost leading tackler, middle linebacker Ryan Spangler. Got 186 total tackles and averaged 15.5 per game. They're really missing him right now. But right now, Carson Goodman on the field. And right here, a little play action, rolls out to his right side, fires one complete. Close to first down yardage. That is complete to number 5, Blake Garrett. And close to first down yardage. That picks up about 8 on that play, sets up a 2nd and 2.
Garrett there, he lowers his shoulder and just bull rushes through the defense. Gets an extra yard from doing so. Brings up 2nd and short.
So now the Mooresville offense comes out with that single back formation. Under center is Goodman. 2nd and 2. Handoff right out to the left side of the offensive line. That one stuffed Mabry, nowhere to run. The Plainfield defense are on top of that one, and the Mooresville offensive line collapses on that side. That's going to set them back at 3rd and 3, loss of a yard on the play. It'll be 3rd down.
These last 2 games for Mooresville, they've given Mabry 34 carries on the ground, and he's turned out 258 yards. They're giving to him a lot this game, too.
Carson Goodman under center. Quick pass out from the snap, and that one is complete. And sheds a tackle. John Eyman. Oh, he fumbled the football. And that one looks to be recovered by Plainfield. Officials waving their arms. They do give it to Plainfield. So the first takeaway of the game, the Plainfield Quakers strip it from Einman, who's been sensational so far. And first time we haven't seen a score from Mooresville in this football game on one of their drives.
Yeah, that could really hurt them. These two teams have gone back and forth scoring every drive they've gotten. And now the Quakers will have a chance to put 2 on the board before Mooresville gets to shoot back. Score is 28-21 with just under 3 minutes left in the quarter.
Like Nathaniel said, 2:56 to go, 28-21 score. Ball's on the 40-yard line of Plainfield. 1st and 10 to go for Moyers and company. He's got 2 receivers out to his right side, 2 to his left. Takes the snap. He's going to fire down the left sideline. Oh, and just through the hands of his receiver. That was intended for number 6, Jack Beebe.
Bit of a scuffle going on.
Beebe had his defender beat, and he was streaking down the far sideline, and if he could just close his hands a little bit more, he would have had that football and been gone for 6.
Yeah, he got past his man. He burnt him, and like you said, if he had had just maybe 1 more inch, he would have been able to put 6 more on the board.
Right here on 2nd and 10. Shotgun snap to Moyers. They go back to Beebe, and Beebe this time doesn't let it get through him. That's complete for about 5 yards. Sets up a 3rd and 5. The ball spotted at the 45-yard line. They give him an extra courteous yard, so be at the 46, 3rd down and 4. And a 28-21 score through the first half. 2:24 to go. Pistol formation, the snap to Moyers. Moyers stands in the pocket, delivers one to Gage Henry. Henry outrunning his defenders, and he is barreled by a couple of Mooresville defenders. And we got 1 man down for Mooresville. It's going to be a little bit of a timeout taken. And that doesn't look good. That's number 44 down on the field. That is Adrian Diop, the senior linebacker.
Man, we haven't seen very many 3rd downs this game. These teams have been getting it down on 1st and 2nd. But when we have, these teams have been very efficient, as the Pioneers have been able to get it down on 3rd as well as the Quakers.
Plainfield is 100% on 3rd down conversions so far in this game. They've faced 4th and 1, but good carry from Tavian Gaudia to set up the 1st down for them. And right now they just keep marching down the field. Gage Henry with that last reception on what looked like a screen pass just through the middle of the defense, sneaking his way past defenders. He broke away for a moment and then was hammered by a couple more Mooresville defenders. And that brings us down to 2:14 to go in the first half. And don't go anywhere. Stay with us. We're going to talk a little bit at halftime about what we witnessed throughout the first half of play here at Plainfield. It's a very exciting football game here. 14 seconds left on the play clock. Both teams trading punches early on. Shotgun formation for Plainfield. Moyers with the snap. He goes deep down the field. This one looks like it's going to be overthrown. It's intercepted by Mabry. James Mabry gets in front of the receiver of Plainfield and comes away with the football as it falls right in his hands.
Nice job for Mooresville recovering from that fumble earlier in the game to keep the Pioneers from scoring another touchdown.
And Moyers with his 2nd interception on the year. And so whenever one team scores a touchdown, the other team scores a touchdown. Whenever one commits a turnover, the other one commits a turnover. Right now, the team's kind of imitating each other just a little bit. Right here, Carson Goodman under center, back inside his own 10-yard line. He takes the snap. They're going to hand off to Mabry. Mabry busts up the left side. And a good gain right there on that play. Sets up a 2nd down. Gain of 6 yards. He's 2nd and 4. Be 28-21 with 1:27 to go. And Nathaniel, let's see if something crazy happens here from the Mooresville offense.
Well, the last couple times you've said that it has, so very
well.
The
big kick return by John Eyman to set it up. Carson Goodman with a snap right here. And that's a delayed handoff to the outside for Evans. Evans, oh, and he hammers his defender as he goes out of bounds and picks up a first down to stop the clock with 1:07 to go.
There for a second, Evans made it look like he was a defensive player. He went on defense, smashed through his tackler, and gets out of bounds with an extra yard.
They got the delayed handoff right up the middle, and Carson Goodman kept it and then just gave it to the reverse field run of Evans, and Braden Evans wasn't going to go down easy. He smashes one of the Plainfield defenders on their own sideline. Carson Goodman with a pass right here going down the field, and it's incomplete. Just over the head of John Einman and Owen Litzelman on the coverage. Owen Litzelman came away with an interception last week against Tri-West off of Luke Robertson, who tossed one up in the air. And, Owen Litzelman, one of the basketball players here at Plainfield, able to go up and grab it just like a rebound. And so far, 2 turnovers, 1 fumble for Mooresville that was lost, and then an interception thrown by Moyers on the next drive. So not either team not able to capitalize. Mabry up the middle, and he slides down after a gain of about 5 on that play. It will be 3rd down. And a timeout is taken with 50 seconds left to go in the first half. 28-21 score. Mooresville takes a timeout. So with that, we'll take a timeout as well. Plainfield football is brought to you by Bailey and Wood Mortgage Lender. Bailey and Wood Mortgage Lender is Indiana's hometown mortgage lender. They are locally owned and operated with 9 central Indiana locations. From purchase to refinances to rehab and cash, they do it all. Call them 24/7 at 855-350-HOME or check them out on the web at www.bawfg.com. Well, back here at Plainfield, where Nathaniel, both teams trading punches here. What do you think Mooresville, obviously short on time, you think Mooresville should just try to keep chipping away at yards, getting out of bounds, or do you think they should go, for the deep passes?
Well, as we've seen already throughout the last few minutes, they're going to go for their deep passes. They're going to try to punch Plainfield right back in the mouth.
They go short here this time on that reception as number 6. That is Kyler Evans. Evans picks up another first down for Mooresville with 45 seconds showing on the clock. So on 3rd down, they convert.
Nice heads-up play as he gets out of bounds to stop the clock, give him a first down, and 3 more opportunities.
(28-21) score late in the second quarter. 45 seconds left. Goodman in the shotgun formation with 3 receivers to his right side, 1 to his left. Takes a snap play action on that one. They come back for a screen pass to John Eyman. Eyman barrels over one of his offensive linemen, and he picks up another first down, gain of 12 on that play for Eyman and company, and a fresh set of downs for Mooresville. Mooresville marching with just a few seconds, 37 seconds to go, trailing by 7 here. Quick snap to Goodman. Goodman rifles one to the sideline on the near side. That one's caught and breaking his defender's ankles. That's Kyler Evans, who gets out of bounds after another first down. And the defense here is just not coming together.
Yeah, they haven't all game. And here, Evans, that's his second reception in 3 plays. And once again, he's able to get out of bounds after a big gain. Sets 26 left on the scoreboard.
Mooresville has 1 timeout left. They're saving that one, going to the sidelines. 26 seconds left, and Goodman in the shotgun. 2 receivers to his right, 1 to his left. He's got the tight end on his left side. Shotgun snap to him. He rifles one. That one's complete as well. And they're going to stop the clock. Another first down play, and they go right back to Kyler Evans, a junior, making plays and setting up good field position for Mooresville. They take their final timeout. Well, Nathaniel, the Plainfield defense, what do you think they're going to talk about here on this timeout?
They definitely need to get their tackles. Obviously, Mooresville's out of timeouts now, so as long as Plainfield can keep them in bounds, that's really going to help chip away at the clock and keep the score as it stands.
Well, definitely Mooresville keeps going back to the same receiver, Kyler Evans. They've gone back to him 3 times, and he's picked up a first down every time they've gone to him. And they went to Einman once. He picked up a first down back close to the 50-yard line. And, this drive has just been all but business, really, just for Mooresville.
This whole game has been for both teams.
Mooresville definitely not getting bullied this year. They were thumped last year in that 40-point loss that they suffered. And the pass to number 6 again. Kyler Evans with the touchdown. And that brings them within 1 as 16 seconds stand on the clock. Drawing down to the final seconds of the first half. This one, a dogfight. And Carson Goodman with a touchdown pass.
Yeah, you can't blame Plainfield for that one. They had 2 men covering their receiver, and it was just a nice heads-up play by both the quarterback and the receiver, and a nice catch for a touchdown.
They went to Kyler Evans every time on those last few plays. The 5'9", 155-pound junior receiver. And this kick is good. Tie ball game with 16 seconds left here at Plainfield. Mooresville Pioneers holding strong with the Quakers. Well, Nathaniel, Plainfield has got all 3 of their timeouts left. They got 16 seconds to drive down the field or make something happen on the kick return. I jinxed it earlier, and I said that, unless something crazy happens, I don't think Mooresville is going to score to end the first quarter, and they did. They found a way.
Well, I think the Quakers' game plan is going to depend on where this kickoff gets returned at. If it's another touchback, as it has been all game, or maybe if they get pinned behind the 30, then they might just take a knee since there's only 16 seconds left. But if they get a nice return here, I wouldn't put it past them to try to put more points on the board. At least a field goal, as their kicker's got a nice leg on him. Both teams' kickers have
Mooresville's definitely out to prove something this year. They finished out last year 3-9 and 0-6 in the conference play after starting off 0-8. But this year they've started off 2-0, and already Carson Goodman, he leads this offense. He threw 21 touchdown passes last year and also threw for over 2,000 yards. He didn't rush for any positive yards, and this kick sails out of bounds. But Carson Goodman, he threw for over 2,000 yards, rushed for negative 63 yards. And he wasn't much of a running quarterback, but he got it done through the air. And Eli Bunch, who was a senior last year, stepped in at quarterback throughout 12 games, while Goodman only appeared in 11. Carson didn't play until a Week 2 loss to Danville last year. And ever since he's taken over, he has just been an absolute force to deal with. And he's definitely proving it in this game. He's been accurate. He's been on the dice, taking care of the football. The only turnover they've had is that fumble from Einman. But other than that, teams have performed really well, and Moyers does take the knee, so they're going to let the first half end here in a slugfest. Both teams fighting hard, but Mooresville hanging strong with the Plainfield Quakers after getting thumped last year. We're going to go over what we saw there in the first half for those of you who are just now tuning in and missed it. So, Nathaniel, kind of give us a recap as to, what both teams have done very well.
Well, we've had huge offensive games, from both sides. They've had poor tackling from the defense and just huge gains over and over again. And punching each other in the mouth, back and forth. Scores now tied at 28, so they've scored a touchdown all but one of each other's drives. And once you saw Mooresville give the turnover, you thought maybe Plainfield would be able to pull away, but now as Mooresville's able to get a turnover of their own and tie the game up with 16 seconds left in the half.
Yeah, and it was definitely a crazy first half. John Einman with that big kick return. Plainfield had a kick return in this game last year at Mooresville, and that was more, in the fourth quarter late in the game to just basically put that one away on the shelf. That is one Mooresville, I feel like would want to get revenge on Plainfield this year. They have, they were thumped last year really bad. Like, it was definitely not a fun game if you're on the Mooresville sideline, and you can't really do anything about that. But this year, start off undefeated 2-0, and now you come into Plainfield hostile territory, and you put 28 points on the board after only being allowed 14 in the previous year. I would say that's a pretty big accomplishment in itself.
I'd agree. This Mooresville team, at least on paper, they've improved a lot. Already 2-0 rather than their 0-8 losing streak to begin last year.
Last year, the receivers, Mooresville was shut out in the first half against Plainfield, but they scored once in the third quarter and once in the fourth quarter while allowing 40 points in the first half. And Eli Bunch had a touchdown and 2 interceptions with 175 passing yards and had a total of 17 rushing plays with negative 12 yards. They didn't have a single gain on any of their running plays. They only ran 17 times. I mean, when in high school football, that's not really how you're going to win games. More high school football is a ground and pound type of game. You need to have a good run game established, and they didn't do any of that against Plainfield last year. The receivers had a good day, though, with 33 combined receptions for 333 yards, but only had 2 touchdowns total. Junior Kyler Evans had the second most receiving yards with 59, and he caught one of the 2 touchdowns. 8 different receivers caught passes from 2 quarterbacks. Carson Goodman stepped up and passed for 167 yards and a touchdown. The defense only had 2 tackles for loss and no forced turnovers. Player of the game for Mooresville was John Eyman, who had 8 receptions for 111 yards to lead all the receivers. And so far in this game, he's been getting it done. He needs his touches to be successful.
Yeah, so with 16 seconds left was where Mooresville was able to put up their last touchdown. So you could imagine without this guy's kickoff return, then they wouldn't have been able to get that, and they wouldn't have been able to tie the score. So that kickoff return is very crucial, and rather than eating up the clock on a big drive, they were able to get a quick touchdown, and it eventually led to them tying the game up late in the second quarter.
Yeah, well, with that, we're going to take a break here from Plainfield. We'll be back with second half action in just a moment. You're listening to Colin Bruns and Nathaniel Finch bringing you the action from Plainfield, Indiana, where the Quakers and the Mooresville Pioneers are tied 28-28 after a slugfest first half. Thank you for listening, and don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in just a moment. All right, everybody, welcome back to Plainfield High School, where the Plainfield Quakers and the Mooresville Pioneers are tied going into the second half, 28-28. There's a minute 22 left to go until the third quarter kickoff. So, Nathaniel, let's run down what happened in that first half. Obviously, Plainfield struck first. And then from there, it snowballed into a scoring effect. Both teams just coming out throwing punches left and right. And James Mabry set up the touchdown for Mooresville first. And then, the first score of the game came off a touchdown pass from Cade Ritter to Gage Henry, the wide receiver. He has a couple touchdowns tonight. He recovered a fumble in the end zone earlier, set up a touchdown, and then Mooresville drove all the way down the field and got a touchdown from their short, undersized receiver, Kyler Evans, who's just about my height, 5'9". It's still decent size for a receiver. He's 155 pounds, and they went to him on almost every play of that final drive, and he came up big time every time they went to him. He got first down after first down, yard after yard, and then a touchdown to set it up. He was left alone on an island, and he just went up and grabbed it out of his defender's hands. And Carson Goodman has performed well. A couple touchdown passes for him through the first half. And James Mabry has been sensational as well. And John Einman with a touchdown on the kick return at the end of the first quarter. So, Nathaniel, clearly both teams having a slugfest here. Do you think we'll see a different different kind of football game in the second half, a little bit more of a defensive battle?
Well, I mean, you got to slow down somewhere. There's no way they can keep up this pace. And obviously the adjustments are made in the locker room. These teams are trying to decide what they can do to slow each other down. And I could see a bit of a slower second half, maybe up until the fourth quarter. So believe it or not, although we've had a lot of big passing plays, the running games for both teams have been consistent. They've been able to come in big spots. Obviously, some of those rushing touchdowns you talked about, some little second, third, and fourth down conversions off the run. And Plainfield, they're liking that wildcat position. What do you think?
Yeah, Tavian Gaudia has had a lot of success out of that wildcat formation. He nearly rushed for a third touchdown, but then he fumbled in the end zone. And, of course, that was recovered by Gage Henry to set up his second touchdown. And Aiden Warriors has been very efficient so far here through the first half. He was on target for a lot of plays, and only 2 turnovers total in the game so far. The interception thrown by Moyers to James Mabry after Plainfield recovered a fumble from John Einman, and neither team was able to capitalize except for Mooresville. Mooresville was able to capitalize off the turnover. They ended up scoring to tie the football game. They were down a touchdown when they committed the turnover, and then they forced a turnover on Plainfield, drove the length of the field, and from the inside their own 10-yard line, and they scored. So, yeah, it's been one of those games, ladies and gentlemen, where you just don't know who's going to come out on top in this one. You know, Mooresville obviously 2-0 on the season. Plainfield 1-1, hoping to avoid, a losing season to start off. But they could easily dig themselves out of this hole. Their defense just needs to tighten up. Both defenses really need to tighten up. Mooresville is obviously known for having one of those defenses that kind of gives up points in bunches and, just allows themselves to get buried sometimes. But this season so far, they haven't allowed that much. They've really picked it up on the defensive side of the football. Obviously that 46-7 victory over Lebanon to start off their season, and then the 28-26 victory over Tri-West. Or not Tri-West, excuse me, that is Danville. Plainfield defeated Tri-West last week. And the opening kick to Evans. Evans muscling his way for a big return close to the 50. Sets up good field position for the Pioneers, who elected to defer to the second half, so they receive the opening kickoff of the second half, and they make good use of it on that return from Braden Evans, and Carson Goodman comes back out on the field to lead the offense, and Iman will come to the near sideline on the right side. Mabry is in the backfield for Mooresville. Carson Goodman under center with a single back formation. They hand off to Mabry, who muscles his way up the middle, breaks into the secondary, picks up a first down. And on the first play of the drive for the second half, a first down run by James Mabry.
Yeah, on that play, Mabry's able to just walk right through the middle of that defense. He doesn't get a whole lot of contact until he's pulled down after about a first down gain.
Well, they're not going to give him the first down, it looks like. I mean, he looked like he crossed the plane on that one. Instead, they're going to say about second and inches. The spot of the marker is right there. The first down marker is pretty much touching the ends of it, but nevertheless, second and inches. They're going to go pass on this play for Goodman. Goodman stands in the pocket. He's got a man, and it's incomplete. Braden Evans was streaking down the sideline. That was incomplete. And it was intended for John Iman, but that falls incomplete. And Braden Evans was wide open just to the right side of him. Didn't see him, but, Goodman stood in the pocket, and he almost took a blow from the defensive line.
Yeah, definitely put on some pressure, the Quakers did. And it led to an incompletion on there as he had to fire the pass out pretty quickly.
Now single back formation for Goodman. They hand off to Mabry, who sidesteps his way to the left sideline, and he gets out of bounds. He does pick up the first down after third and inches, and he gets a big run there. Mabry was shoved out.
It may not seem like it, but there's a lot of improvement on this Quaker defense as they're able to at least force a third down hopefully towards the end of the game they can start forcing fourth down and putting on more of a defensive show.
Ryan Eiman comes to the near sideline. He's on the hash marks. The ball spotted on the other side, on the far side at the 32-yard line. Mabry takes the handoff, and he is... Oh, no, he doesn't go down. He breaks away from the defense, and down the left sideline, there he goes. Touchdown, James Mabry of Mooresville.
Once again, we have a prime example of these short little runs, short passes, and he's just able to burn past the defense. Awful tackling by the Pioneers, the Quakers, excuse me, as it's an easy touchdown. He just runs right past everybody.
And it looked like Mabry was stacked up at the line of scrimmage, and he just keeps on trucking forward. He's a really big guy. You know, you look at Mabry, he is 5'8", you know, only 4 inches taller than his counterpart, Tavian Gaudia, but he's 188 pounds. And that PAT is good. 35-28 lead. Mooresville takes their first lead of the football game here with 11 minutes on the clock, only 1 minute ticked away. And the Quakers find themselves in a 7-point hole. And, you know, clearly we could probably expect Plainfield to score on this drive unless the Mooresville defense can stack it together. We haven't seen a punt yet from either team. You know, their offense, both their offenses have been just clicking, just like that. And, you know, Nathaniel, what do you think Plainfield needs to do to keep that offensive vibe going?
Definitely need to keep their run game going. They've come in at clutch moments, bringing up first down after first down, setting up these big gains in the air as the defense trying to stack the box and gives easy way to big gains through the air.
Right here, the ball is teed up, ready to go for Christian Swigert, and he sends it away. That ball takes a bounce inside the 10. That one is taken up, and a flag flies in at the end of the play. It gets it to about the 20-yard line. Couldn't see who returned to there. It looks like number 29 of Plainfield. That is Colin Dorsett. Dorsett returns it to what would have originally been the ball spot, the 20-yard line. That ball, and that penalty does go on Plainfield, so that's going to set them back 10 yards as a holding call. So instead of starting the drive from the 20, they started at the 10. Right there, that's the first penalty we've seen in a while. Not very many flags have been thrown in this football game, Nathaniel.
Yeah, it's maybe, the second or third very disciplined game for both teams. Let's hope they can keep up.
Both teams have kept up very well, and it looks like they go back to a bit of a shotgun form. Cade Ritter takes a direct snap. He gets a blocker in front of him. He streaks out to the sideline, and the sideline's looking for a flag as Ritter was shoved a little bit extra there by one of the Mooresville defenders. But it is a first down across the 30-yard line. They get to the 26-yard line. Plainfield, good first down run from Ritter. They were still going with that wildcat formation. This time only Ritter took the snap, and Aiden Moyers is back in with Gaudia right behind him. Man in motion for Plainfield. Takes the snap. Hand off to Gaudia. Gaudia trying to work his way up the middle. A short gain on that play. Gain of about 3.
Here's
brought down by number 62, Robert Gentry of Mooresville.
As this game keeps progressing, this Mooresville defense is tightening up inside, getting their big guys to get these stops. Gaudia for Plainfield hasn't had a whole lot of room to run between the tackles.
Gaudia is going to take the snap here on this one. Hands off to Ritter. Ritter was going to throw, but he tucks it instead, and he runs for a first down, and a flag does fly in at the end of the play. It looks like this one might be coming back. Ritter was able to shed some tacklers and get up ahead for the first down, but oh no, they call this one on the defense. They called on Mooresville. So surprisingly, I thought that this penalty was going to go against Plainfield, but instead Mooresville gets penalty drawn on him. That's a first down for Plainfield and a whole lot more on the end of the run from Ritter.
that play, it appeared to be just about the same play as the touchdown pass from earlier that Gaudia performed. And rather than launching it deep, he decides just to run for a nice first down gain as is added to by this penalty.
So instead of going with Moyers on this drive, they stick with Ritter and Gaudia in the backfield. Shotgun snap. Ritter's going to keep it himself right up the gut. This is a good first down run. He gets about 5 yards on that play. He'll set up second down. Moyers comes back in at quarterback for Plainfield. And number 5, Jacob Sheets, will come off the field. And in this time, pistol formation. They fake the handoff. Moyer steps up to avoid the defender. He fires one complete outside to Jack Beebe. Excuse me, that's Seth Weininger with the reception. There is a flag that comes in. Flag flew in at the last second after the first down completion to Seth Weininger.
You know, Colin, as soon as we compliment them being disciplined, we've had penalty after penalty this drive, and it just seems like we can't ever predict anything right today, huh?
And the call was an illegal receiver downfield, so unfortunately that's going to set them back, but it does count, so they're going to spot this one at the 41-yard line of Mooresville. It's second down and 9. Gage Henry came back in the game. He's in the slot on the near side. And the shotgun snap to Moyers. He keeps it himself. He fires one complete for a first down. Good first down throw. That one is complete to number 8, Seth Weininger again. There's a flag down again. And this one is coming back again. Ineligible receiver downfield once again. Back-to-back penalties on Plainfield, but what would be first downs, Moyers has stepped up in the pocket well. He's had a good, clean pocket almost all day. I mean, he hasn't really had to move around much. There's been a few times where he's needed to scramble, but so far he's been pretty well. He's pretty much been just standing in there launching them.
It helps that he's been throwing quick passes as well.
Moyers on the rollout to the left side. He's going to have to throw opposite side. That one's broken up, incomplete by Braden Evans. So that sets up a third down for Plainfield. That was intended for number 14, Cade Ritter. Ritter unable to haul it in over Evans, and that sets up a third and long. Well, Nathaniel, what do you think Plainfield needs to do here? I mean, obviously, we get the first down and long yardage. Do you think they try to go a little short pass that's picked up big yards? We've seen pick up big yards, or do you think they try to long ball it?
Well, I could see, similar to this play we just saw, as a short pass, or a medium pass, letting their guys get maybe 5 or 10 yards on the play for a first down.
They snap it and hand it to Gaudia. Gaudia rumbles forward, not quite a first down. That's going to be back quite a ways from a first down. That's fourth down. So they get back to the original 1st and 10 marker, and then they get a couple more, but that's going to set up a 4th and 9. 8:49 to go in the third quarter, 28-35. Mooresville in the lead, and their crowd is on their feet. On the opposite sideline, shotgun formation for Moyers. Takes the snap. He drops back, clean pocket, fires one complete to Gaudia. Gaudia trying to make his man miss. He is stuffed before he can get a first down.
Man, Gaudia didn't give up on that play. Once he was hit, he kept churning and tried to get more yards, but Mooresville had an extra safety come down.
And it looks like an injury timeout will be taken. One of the Mooresville's defenders who made first contact with Gaudia is down on the field. That's number 37, Augie Newkirk. He is down, and he needs to be helped. He is still in there being attended to by the training staff. It looks to be a lower body injury for him. He came in low on Gaudia, and you really need to get low for Ontavian because he is a very short guy, but he's a very powerful runner. So going for his legs is definitely a difficult challenge when he's standing at just 5'4", and he's got the body of a tank, though. He just truck through anybody he wants to, really. He's been bullying defenders all day long. He's definitely a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, you could even see from that play how low he got, how hard he kept trying to get past that initial contact. 37's limping off the field now. He's helped by two of the training staff.
And right there, I don't know if you heard or not, but Hamilton Southeastern on top of Avon. Avon on top of Hamilton Southeastern, 16-6.
In the third quarter, Lebanon leads Danville 14-13.
And in the third quarter, Lebanon leads Danville 14-13. Good Sagamore Conference matchup there. And the only undefeated team so far in that conference, the Western Boone Stars, is our high school. They're playing Crawfordsville tonight. They're ranked number 1 in Class 2A by Max Preps and number 2 in Class 2A by the Indy Star. And they're on top 49-0 over Crawfordsville, dominating their interconference opponent. Carson Goodman under center. Hand off to Mabry. Mabry trucks ahead. And he picks up about 4 on that play. 2nd and 6. Caleb Boer came in with the tackle for the Plainfield Quakers. And, the Sagamore Conference this year is not really related to this football game, but the Sagamore Conference is a tough conference to deal with. You got Tri-West in there, who Plainfield handled last week, and you got Powerhouse Western Boone, who has state championship aspirations this year. They have the potential to do it. Carson Goodman, though, on the pass, it sets up, and that one is complete to number 5, Blake Garrett. Garrett nearly gets to the first down.
Man, as you were saying, Colin, Western Boone, they were ranked number 1 in 2A after 2 games, putting up another nice performance, 49-0.
And Western Boone, even though they're a 2A school, they went up against Lafayette Harrison, and who is a 5A school, and they shut them out 26-0 at their home field, not at Harrison's home field, at Western Boone's home field. And they just dominated their opponent. Right now, that's reason to be number 1 in 2A. Right there, Mabry picks up the first down for Mooresville.
24, James Mabry on carry for the Pioneers.
Well, everybody talked about Western Boone trying to win a state championship a year ago. They did win They did win their first sectional championship since 2001, a couple seasons ago. It was definitely a hard-fought victory. It was a hard-fought, route to get there. They had to get past Tipton, and they won that game in the last few seconds on a touchdown pass to Peyton Young, who just streaked into the end zone. Peyton Young, of course, signed a baseball scholarship.
Man, Western Boone, they've outscored their opponents 125-12 so far this year.
Peyton Young, as I was saying, signed a baseball scholarship to go to University of Southern Indiana, the Screaming Eagles. Peyton Young he's one of the vocal leaders on that football team, and he's definitely one of their best seniors that they have, but he's more of a baseball player at heart, and he's a very good one. He in a very interesting story, Crawfordsville, who was ranked as high as number 1 and that pass is incomplete. Intended for number 13, Braden Evans on 3rd down. And as I was saying, Peyton Young, part of the Western Boone football team, who really had a mediocre season. He's had a lot of mediocre seasons over the years, but perhaps some of their biggest moments is when they beat top 5 ranked Crawfordsville in the sectionals in the first round. Peyton Young had 8 strikeouts in one of the baseball games, and he barely plays pitcher like. He's more of an outfielder, and this pass right here is incomplete on 3rd down. That's going to set up a 4th down. They tried to go to number 6, Kyler Evans. But Yeah, like we said, Western Boone's success pretty much unrelated to this football game. Plainfield, the Red Pride, more important here tonight. So they're looking to, put one in the win column here against the undefeated Mooresville Pioneers. And it looks like we're going to see our first punt tonight. John Iman is back and looks to be punting formation. Well, don't know if this is going to be an actual punt.
To jinx it.
And here they go. They do punt it away. Iman with a big boot. And that one flies in past the 20, inside the 10, inside the 5. They get down to about the 2 to 3 yard line. I'm going to spot this one at the 3 yard line. Great punt by John Iman. He has been doing it all.
I'm not sure if you can ask for much better on that punt. I mean, putting them in their own 2 to 3 yard line, it's about as good as it gets on punt teams.
It really has been a great performance from Iman. 35-28, 5:45 to go with Mooresville Pioneers on top. The Quakers had a lot of this second half right here. We haven't seen as much scoring, but I'm sure that'll pick up here in a few minutes. Backed up with Gaudia in their own end zone. He's going to take the snap. And he keeps it himself. He burst ahead forward past the line of scrimmage, on the first down run.
13 yards on the carry for the Quakers. Tackle by number 14, Gavin Evans.
He is brought down at about the 10-yard line. Gain of 6 on that play. Sets up a 2nd and 4. And the ball is spotted on the 10-yard line. Gaudia in the Wildcat formation. Keeps it himself again, goes right up the same hole he went earlier, and he picks up the first down. For Plainfield, there's a flag that flies in on the play.
Tackled by number 7, Jackson Clem for the Pioneers. There is a penalty flag on the field.
And we'll see what this is called. Burden comes out of the football game at the backup running back. That is on. That penalty is a face mask that goes against Mooresville. And another first down for the Quakers. They keep it going. Right here, seeing a little bit of signs of life from Plainfield here in the second half, Nathaniel.
Yeah, definitely. Hope they can keep it going. They got a lucky break here with a penalty to keep their drive alive.
They go back to that same Wildcat formation. Gaudia sends Cade Ritter in motion. He carries it himself, barrels over a defender, keeps on churning those legs. He picks up another Plainfield first down.
Man, as you described it earlier, this player Gotti, he's playing like a tank. He's bulldozing right through this brick wall of a defense and getting easy yards.
Still going with that Wildcat formation. Gaudia is still in the backfield. Cade Ritter has been coming in motion every time. Mooresville has not had an answer for this formation so far that Plainfield has thrown at them, and they do take a timeout. Mooresville, their first timeout of the half. They used all 3 of their timeouts in the first half to get on the board. They're still leading 35-28 with 4:46 to go in the third quarter. But Plainfield is on the march with Tavian Gaudia leading the charge.
Colin, I know you're a Texans fan, Houston Texans. Me, I'm a Denver Broncos fan, so we're used to seeing these defensive games. And, you can't go wrong with some good defense, but when it comes to offense, you can get a shootout like this, there's not a whole lot better to watch in football.
Yeah, you're definitely right. Me being a Houston Texans fan, that offense should pick up this year with Deshaun Watson. We saw what he could do last year. He put up a lot of points, and the defense really did suffer for the Texans last year. They I remember it was against the Seattle Seahawks. I don't remember what week it was, but both teams put up over 40 points in the football game, and eventually Seattle did come away with the win, but the defense wasn't able to put anything together. And right here, Gaudio on the first down carry picks up about 6 yards on that play, gets to the 50-yard line of midfield. Brought down by number 14, Gavin Evans.
The Texans have got their superstar in J.J. Watt. Denver, of course, they've got Von Miller. So let's see if either of these teams can rise up a superstar to keep this defense going.
Right here, Gaudia with another first down run. Gaudia has been just charging ahead without letting up. He is a tough runner to bring down, and it looks like they're going to get out of the Wildcat formation this time. They bring Gaudia to the sideline, and they bring Aiden Moyers back in and Logan Burden. Shotgun formation with 3 receivers to the right of Moyers. Hand off to Logan Burden. Burden runs into a wall, but he keeps going forward for a gain of about 2 yards on that play. It'll be 2nd down and 8. It's 3:45 to go in the third quarter. And Nathaniel talking about defense for the Denver Broncos. Of course, they have Von Miller, but you can't forget the new addition they picked up in this year's draft, Bradley Chubb, a big stud defensive lineman. You know, he is one of the most he was one of the most dominant forces in college football, and it looks like he might be the same thing here in the NFL. But right there, the 2nd down carry for Burden, it sets up a 3rd down. Gaudia will come back in, and Moyers will go back to the sideline. Looks like the Wildcats coming back in.
You know, all it takes is one player here on defense on any football team, on any team for that matter. It takes one player with a heart to bring his team up, and I remember back in 2012, before Von Miller was drafted, Denver's defense went from 28th to 2 just for the addition of one man. So
Cade Ritter with the snap here. He picks up a first down, spins off a defender. He's being chased down, and he is eventually tackled from behind by Jackson Clem, but not before he does some damage to the Mooresville defense. Once again, some poor tackling, but great agility and endurance by Cade Ritter to set up the first down.
Some awful tackling, as you mentioned, we've seen all game long. Just poor swatting with the arms and not wrapping up and going low very often.
And now Plainfield set up inside the red zone at the 15-yard line on the far side at the hash mark. Right here, Ritter with a snap. Straight ahead for Ritter. He gets a blocker in front of him. Touchdown, Plainfield. The Quakers strike back, trailing by 1, 34-35 with 2:12 to go in the third quarter. So we talked about earlier before the second half kickoff, you know, could we see a different ball game here in the second half? And seems like nothing's changed.
Yeah, offenses are a little bit slower, as we've seen the punt, and here there is a missed 4th down conversion. But as you said earlier, Einman for Mooresville has been doing it all for his team. And on the flip side, Cade Ritter here for the Quakers has been doing everything for his offense. Been a nice showing by both of these young men.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Gaudia and Ritter have definitely been the key factors so far for the Red Pride. They have done sensational here tonight to try and carry this football team. And all they need to do now is get a stop on defense, and they could easily regain that lead. Mooresville took their first lead of the game with only a minute wasted in the third quarter, and they got the easy touchdown.
Man, the only reason Mooresville didn't get a lead earlier is because Plainfield was scoring on every one of their drives. Here, now that we've flipped possession and Mooresville got the opening kickoff in the half, they've been able to stay on top just as the Quakers were able to in the first half.
Yeah, and it's just been really a big, tough battle. Both teams in Maybury set up the touchdown earlier, and he just bounced off a defender, ran into the end zone. That was the first score of the half, and it looks like they're trying to onside kick here. Short kick, easily returnable, but this kick is covered up. And on that return, number 37, Audrey Newkirk.
As you mentioned, Mooresville was able to score on their opening drive of the second half, with just 1 minute wasted. And that kickoff return in the beginning of the half was similar to this. The ball spot was placed near the 50-yard line on both of these kicks.
Right, we've seen big plays from both Mabry and John Iman as well. Iman, of course, with a big kickoff return for a touchdown to tie the game at the end of the first quarter, and then Mabry with the touchdown with only a minute gone in the third quarter. But right now we're standing at 2:07 to go in the third quarter, and Mooresville has the ball. This time the handoff to Mabry goes to the left side, and it looks like he's going to lose yards on this play. Good stand by the Plainfield defense. They drop Mabry for a loss of 3.
On Mooresville's kickoff return earlier, they were able to go lateral for most of the beginning of the play. This time they try to do the same thing on this run, but it's not as successful as it gets swallowed up for a loss of about 2.
Well, the reason they were able to go lateral is just the poor tackling of Plainfield. You know, nobody was out there to cover any of those runs and outside passes on the slants, and it was just very difficult for Plainfield to get in position on the coverage-wise. And this time Carson Goodman's going to pass. Fires one out to the flat. That's complete to Mabry. Mabry trucking ahead. He has a first down and more. Mabry trying to get ahead away from the Plainfield defense. He breaks away deep into the secondary, tracked down by Logan Burden, but not before he can pick up a big first down and do a lot of damage to the Plainfield defense.
So as we were talking about with Ritter and Einman being studs for their respective teams, here in the last 2 weeks, Ritter's gotten 18 receptions for 154 yards, and on the flip side, Einman's gotten 11 receptions for 209 yards. So they've been performing all year long, and hopefully we can continue to see this for the rest of the season.
Of course, if Mooresville wants to keep this undefeated streak alive and move to 3-0, Mabry gets the carry. He breaks away to the left sideline. He's still going. He gets down inside the 10-yard line. Big first down run for James Mabry, the running back, doing a lot of damage here to the Plainfield defense. They're not able to slow him down. You know, looking at Plainfield, you know, they're just they didn't allow Mabry to get that many yards against their defense last year, but he only had 8 carries. And of course, this year things have changed. Mooresville looking like a more complete team. All right, here, Goodman, the handoff to number 45. First time we've seen a different run tonight. Xavier Green. Green got close to the pylon. He is not going to get in. They're going to spot him down at about the 2-yard line. This will be second down and goal to go for Mooresville. Ball at the 2-yard line, Nathaniel. What are you going to have to do? What do you think the Plainfield defense should adjust to?
Well, they do have some size up front, so I'd say they'd stack the box here, being so close to the end zone.
It's been very difficult to get pressure on Carson Goodman. Goodman hasn't really been pressured at all. The defense of Plainfield just having a hard time getting into the backfield to try and bring down Goodman. Goodman really hasn't been sacked all game, and Adam Warriors for Plainfield has been sacked just once. So, you know, both offensive lines protecting their quarterbacks very well. And right now, Mooresville with an opportunity to score and take the lead. There's 13 seconds to go in the third quarter. Ball is on the 2-yard line, and it's second down. They're going with a full house set here. Goodman, the handoff to Mabry. Mabry breaks in for a touchdown.
This offense was in bunch formation. They had a lot of fullbacks, tight ends, halfbacks bunched in towards the line, easily able to pick up this touchdown, as they have been able to all game long. Score stands 41-35, pending the extra point. 7 seconds left in the third quarter.
James Mabry has been very, very good so far in this game. He's just been trucking into the end zone. The Plainfield defense hasn't had an answer to stop him. He just keeps on getting ahead.
Both teams perfect on extra points this game. Pretty impressive for high school. Definitely poses an advantage for the rest of the season for both teams.
Yeah, well, it's been a really hard-fought game. This time the scoring has been reversed. Of course, Plainfield kept scoring first in the first half. You know, they received the opening half kickoff. the opening game kickoff, and they, took it the distance of the field and scored on the touchdown pass from Cade Ritter to Gage Henry. And then, of course, Mooresville responded with a big touchdown run of their own from James Mabry. And then all of a sudden, now it's just turned into a blow. It's just turned into a shootout here. Good old-fashioned Western-style duel between two offensive-heavy teams. Mooresville has picked up their scoring this year. This is their second game where they've scored above 40 points this season, and they've only played 3 games so far. And this ball is kicked away, and the kick return man fumbles it at the goal line, but he picks it up. Oh, and he looks like he's going to be wrapped up and brought down at the 1-yard line. They're not going to call it. They're not going to call it a safety. They're going to give him forward progress and spot him at the 1-yard line, but this is terrible field position for the Plainfield Quakers. Not a great return.
Second drive in a row that they've had been pinned back right behind their end zone. And it appeared that he was tackled in the end zone, but like Colin said, they gave him forward progress at the 1-yard line.
Boy, you can definitely kind of feel a momentum shift here, can't you, Nathaniel? The Quakers are getting caught flat-footed here, and they can't do that right now, especially this late in the game. There's 1 second left in the third quarter, and they trail 35-42. Mooresville Pioneers on top.
Yeah, definitely, and like I tracked it to earlier, Plainfield opened the game with the return, and Mooresville had to play keep up for the rest of the half. Now it's flip-flopped. Plainfield's playing on their heels, trying to keep the score even with Mooresville.
And a timeout looks to be taken by Mooresville. That's their second timeout taken of the second half. So they have 1 timeout remaining for the ball game.
This is not the ideal situation for Mooresville. In the first half, they had ran out of timeouts by the end of the half, and now they only have 1 going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, especially if Plainfield does catch up. It'd be nice to have a few extra timeouts in your back pocket, but with the way things are going right now, it doesn't seem like Mooresville really needs to worry about much. I mean, they are only up by a touchdown, but their offense has just been producing points, and it's definitely taken its toll on the Plainfield offense. Their offense has been on the field. Gotti has really had to take on a lot of the production so far on the offense. Aiden Moyers has been kept on the sidelines primarily. They do go back to this wildcat formation. Ritter is going to take the snap this time, and he does. He leaps over a defender. He gives himself a little cushion, out of his own end zone. So Cade Ritter picks up about 4 yards on that play. It'll be 2nd down and 6. And that's the end of the third quarter. Time expires as Mooresville stays on top, 42-35. You're listening to Plainfield football here on Audio Sports Online.
And, man, just through 3 quarters, we have a combined score of 77 for both teams. As you mentioned, the score of 42-35 in favor of Mooresville.
It's crazy, isn't it? Plainfield football is brought to you by 84 Lumber. And also brought to you by Indie Home Experts. Indie Home Experts is a top-producing Plainfield real estate team that loves helping their clients buy, sell, and invest in real estate. They sell their clients' homes fast and for more money. Located at 2680 East Main Street in Plainfield, you can get more information about their incredible services by calling 317-364-5858 or check them out on the web at indiehomeexperts.com. We also wish to thank Haynes Roofing, Siding, and Gutters, 84 Lumber, and CAC Body Shop for supporting Plainfield football broadcast. Big supporters of Plainfield football and your student athletes. Well, Nathaniel, back here at Plainfield, the Quakers find themselves in a little hole right now that they could easily dig themselves out of. Fresh 12 minutes, and the fourth quarter is here, trailing 35-42. And they have the football. They're going to have to drive the length of the field. They are starting from inside their own 10-yard line. Right here, the direct snap to Ritter. Ritter goes up the left side, runs into a wall. The ball's fumbled, and it run back into the end zone. Touchdown, Mooresville.
Man,
Plainfield.
For once, we've got a 2-score game as Mooresville's able to score their second in a row.
Plainfield gives up their second turnover of the night. First was an interception thrown by Aiden Moyers, and now a fumble returned for a touchdown by Cade Ritter. And unable to see who returned the touchdown for Mooresville, but nevertheless they go up 2 scores. And for the first time in this football game, one team has gone up by 2 touchdowns, and right here that extra point is good. Wow.
Yeah, definitely, and as that's Ritter, looked like he had plenty of space. He could get a big gain out of there. He ends up losing the football. Easy 5-6 yard return for a touchdown for Mooresville.
For a team that was absolutely bullied at home last year, Mooresville, this game feels a little personal on their end. They were absolutely embarrassed by Plainfield in the last time these two teams met. But this year, they came out swinging, and they've hit Plainfield right in the mouth. And right here, they seem to be going for the haymaker and the knockout blow. Now up 2 scores, 49-35. What do you think Plainfield needs to do? I mean, it seems like the momentum has just shifted.
Yeah, definitely, and now down 2 scores. Plainfield's got to be smart with their handling of the ball. They can't give up many more turnovers if they want to have a chance to keep the game in their hands.
It's been very tough for Plainfield. It seemed like everything was going for them in the first half, and now they're starting to get a little shaky. And Mooresville is taking advantage of it right here. This kick is away, and that's a long one. Just sails over the head of Logan Burden, and that goes out of the back of the end zone. So 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line, touchback. And the Plainfield coaches talking about how this team can get back into, ultimately, if Plainfield can score on this drive, maybe get a little confidence back, they could probably get a stop on defense if they can just slow down the power running of James Mabry.
Yeah, definitely, and you can expect a lot more running now from this Mooresville team as they're milking a score, milking the clock.
Yeah, it's definitely something to behold. I mean, Plainfield right now, they go back to Cade Ritter. He's going to throw on 1st down. He's got a man, and that one is going to be caught. No, they make it an interception. Mooresville comes away with an interception. Gavin Evans picked it off from Cade Ritter. Ritter with his 2nd turnover in a row, and 3 turnovers now for the Plainfield offense.
Gosh, Colin, how many times are we going to mention something and it ends up backfiring, as we were just saying about how Plainfield needs to protect the ball, and on the very first throw, interception.
Well, now if you're Plainfield, your defense definitely needs to step up here and fight like mad dogs. You're down 2 scores, 35-49 with 11:43 to go in the football game. And, of course, Mabry's going to get the carry here. Big power run, but he is dragged back before he can do any more damage. He gets to the 45-yard line. Gain of 2 on that play from Mabry.
Now, how does Plainfield's defense stay competitive right now? They're gassed. They were just on for a long drive, and they have no rest on the sideline.
They really need to move this offensive line of Mooresville. The Mooresville offensive line has not given up an inch so far. They've been very good of keeping the defenders off of them. And right here, a clean pocket for Carson Goodman. Goodman fires one complete for a 1st down. Owen Litzelman on that tackle. That's John Eyman picking up another 1st down.
That's an interesting play call for Mooresville, as it's 2nd down. They're trying to milk a score and the clock with 11 minutes left in the game. And they throw a nice 10-yard bomb. You would have expected a running play there on 2nd down.
Well, I think that with the way last year turned out, I think Mooresville might be going for the kill shot here. They're going for the knife they're going for the dagger right here to try and make this a 3-score game. They reverse it to John Iman. Iman tries to break a few tackles. He does not get back to the original line of scrimmage. He's going to lose yardage on this play. That'll bring up a second down and a loss of 4.
Now on that play they did lose yards, but that could have been a lot worse as Iman was maybe back 10 yards before he's able to just power through for an extra 6. Again, this Plainfield defense, they didn't show the toughness that they did earlier in the game, and he's able to just slice through them.
That's going to take some more time off the clock. 10 minutes to go. In the fourth quarter, trailing 35-49. Plainfield on bottom. Mooresville standing at the top of the mountain right now. Carson Goodman with the passing play. This one's intercepted! Intercepted and being run back! The Plainfield defense rises up, and Mabry runs the man out of bounds. Can't really tell who intercepted that pass. It looked like Owen Litzelman. It is actually intercepted by number 3, Hunter Harbick, with his first interception of the season. Boy, he had daylight in front of him, and Mabry was back to get him. Good thing he got back to him, but it was a big run back, and now the second turnover of the night for the Mooresville offense. First they fumbled it, and then now it's an interception. And Moyers is back in the game. Shotgun formation to him. 3 receivers to his right side. Hand off to Gaudia. Gaudia nearly breaks away, but he's tripped up but just before he could get past the line of scrimmage. He does fall forward for about 5 yards on that play. He gets to the 20-yard line. Plainfield rushing to the line of scrimmage to try to catch the defense off guard. Moyers with a shotgun snap. Fires one complete. Complete for a first down on that play. That one was caught by number 6, Jack Beebe.
You know, Mooresville, they just shot themselves in the foot with that interception. They've got the lead by 2 scores, only 10 minutes left, and rather than milking the clock, running the ball, they decided to do 2 consecutive passes.
Bounces off his man, tries to get to the left sideline, doesn't quite get there, but he is brought down, picks up a big first down, and he sets them up inside the 10-yard line. So Plainfield already threatening to score with 9:05 to go in the fourth quarter. Time ticking off the clock, trailing 35-49.
Plainfield knocking on the end zone right here.
They go back to that wildcat formation. Mooresville expecting it. They stack the box. Gaudia powers his way forward. Touchdown, Plainfield! Tavian Gaudia with another touchdown tonight. And he is getting the sideline fired up. Gaudia makes it Gaudia with 6 on the board. Makes it an 8-point ball game. The extra point coming. Try and make it 7. The Mooresville defense, they expected that when they saw Gaudia go back to that formation, and that PAT right there is good. So, I mean, Nathaniel, that just shows you how much of a powerful runner Gaudia really is. Mooresville stacked the box. They knew he was coming for that end zone, and they still could not stop him.
You know, we've seen this all game. He goes right between the tackles, maybe only gets 3 or 4 yards, but he's able to do it by powering through, just being a bull of a runner here. Combined score is now 91 with a little over 8 minutes left in the game.
Oh, 42-49 score. Plainfield capitalizes off the interception from Hunter Harbick. And the Mooresville offense looked like they were going to go for the throat, and they ended up shooting themselves in the foot, turning the ball over and allowing a big run back by Harbick. Set up the touchdown run by Tavian Gaudia.
It'll be interesting to see how the play calling changes for this drive. They're still up by 7 points, and you can't really expect them to be throwing more deep passes as they were this last drive.
Mooresville definitely has a lot of time to burn off the clock. They're standing at 8 minutes and 48 seconds. 42-49 the score. The Pioneers are still on top. Mooresville trying to maintain this lead. The fumble return for a touchdown made it a 2-score game. Then the touchdown run and the interception by Harbeck, and then the touchdown run from Gaudia. Makes this a 1-score game again, and so far, the momentum was on the side of Mooresville. Oh, this one is over the head, and it's caught. Oh, it's recovered by Mooresville. Very close to being recovered by Plainfield. That ball did travel more than 10 yards, and the Plainfield Quakers were there to grab it, but fortunately for Mooresville, they were able to snag it out of the air and try to get a return going.
Yeah, and all of a sudden the momentum seems to be shifted back into the hands of Plainfield.
Yeah, it looks like when Mooresville was going to go for the haymaker, Plainfield responded with a punch to the face. And right here, 2 heavyweights slugging it out. The snap to Carson Goodman, who hands off to Marbury. Marbury stacked up by the defensive line of Plainfield. They don't allow much on that play. They gain a 4. Gets close to the 50-yard line.
Some of these scores around the conference. Decatur Central is up on Whiteland 28-14. Martinsville is thumping Greenwood 29-8. And Perry Meridian is losing a close game to Franklin Community 21-32.
Thank you, Nathaniel, for the scoring update from around the conference. And, of course, this game tonight, a fight for an undefeated season to stay alive for Mooresville. And Marbury bounces off to the right side. He picks up a first down for Mooresville. He does get out of bounds. That will stop the clock at 7:59, 42-49. Pioneers on top.
Colin, that's not what you want to see from your running back in this situation. You want him to power and stay inside the yard markers.
Yeah, definitely. That does take a little bit of momentum away from the drive. It gives the Plainfield defense a time to rest for a little bit instead of going no huddle. The urgency here for Mooresville is to maintain this lead, try to get another score on the board, whether it be a field goal or a touchdown. We haven't seen any field goals so far in this game, and we've only seen 1 punt so far. Marbury with the delayed handoff, and he's stacked up by the Plainfield defensive line that drives him back. The linebackers getting in there as well. He's wrestled up by number 40, Jacob Platt of Plainfield. Marbury has run tough all night, Nathaniel, and if they're going to get back in this football game, they really need to shut him down.
Yeah, definitely, especially with the clock winding down here, 7 minutes and 30 seconds left in the game. They need to come up with some kind of answer to stop this team so they can get the ball back and march down the field. Hyman
goes to the near side of the numbers. Carson Goodman fires the opposite way. They go to number 6, Kyler Evans, who caught a touchdown pass earlier, close to the first down yardage, but he is corralled just before he could turn around and reach the first down marker. He'll set up 3rd down and short. The ball spotted at the 39-yard line of Plainfield. The defense is going to have to rise up here, Nathaniel.
Yeah, that was a great play from Plainfield's defensive back. Plowing through and stopping this receiver from getting the first down, brings up 3rd and short.
They're going with that single back formation, and the quarterback sneak from Carson Goodman. It looks like he does pick up the first down. Gets maybe a yard or 2 on that play. Nevertheless, he does convert on 3rd down, so fresh set of downs for the Mooresville Pioneers with 6:40 to go in the football game. On top, 49-42 over the Plainfield Quakers in Plainfield. So, right here, Nathaniel, situation. You're just going to try to ground and pound the rock with James Mabry, or once you get towards the red zone a little bit more, you try to start slinging it out a little bit.
I'd say you keep running it down, keep running the clock down as low as you can.
Oh, and Mabry with a big run here. He does pick up the first down. He still refuses to go down, and he just shed his way through the secondary of Plainfield to pick up the first down. Plainfield cannot give up any more yardage here in this situation. They do get down to the 20-yard line. Right now, knocking on the door of the red zone. It's definitely going to be a tough position for the defense of Plainfield, but they need to make something happen.
Yeah, the ball is now spotted on the 20-yard line of Plainfield.
Right
as
here.
this Mooresville team's in the red zone.
Right here, handoff to Mabry. Mabry tries to get upfield, but gain of about 2 on that play, or maybe 1. Could be second down. Mabry's run hard all game. He's gotten a lot of touches tonight, and he's needed it to be very successful. And Adam Warriors has remained on the sideline for the majority of this football game. You know, Tavian Gaudia and Cade Ritter really carrying most of the responsibility on offense. Warriors, though, has been very efficient. He's only turned the ball over once, and Cade Ritter has turned the ball over twice, but that's not a knock against Ritter because he has played very sensational in this football game. Right here, James Mabry busting upfield on the right side. He picks up the first down. They do stop the clock. He gets inside the 10-yard line. They're going to spot this one at about the 9.
With just under 5 minutes. So as we look back to these past 2 games for Mabry here, he's been able to he's been handed 34 carries in just these 2 games for over 250 yards, and we can both see why they like to use him so much.
Yeah, well, you know, James Mabry was a great addition in the backfield last season. Mabry struggled against Plainfield last year, only getting 5 yards to his total on 8 carries. He carried the ball 148 times last year for 731 yards, 7 touchdowns. Mooresville was not known as a primarily run-heavy team. You know, their second leading rusher on the team had 99 yards on 7 carries, so that really tells you that Mabry has been, you know, the dominant force in the backfield and the only option, really. He hasn't been replaced. I've only seen one other person carry the ball besides Mabry in this football game, and a timeout is taken by Mooresville. That's their final timeout.
Yeah, there's just under 4 minutes in this game at 3:57. Score is still 49-42 as Mooresville is now in the red zone, just inside the 10-yard line, trying to stomp on the throat.
And last season, Gavin Evans had the most interceptions for the Mooresville defense. He came away with 2. The Mooresville defense as a whole came away with 6 interceptions. They had one. They've had 2 here tonight. One from Gavin Evans and one from James Mabry. You know, Moyers was picked off, and then so was Ritter. In this defense, they've lost their leading tackler, Ryan Spangler, who was also their sack leader. He had 3 sacks on the year. They had a total of 9 sacks as a defense. And they had 7 fumble recoveries, and they forced 8 fumbles, and they forced a few here tonight. And one of those was recovered by Plainfield for a touchdown. That was Gage Henry. But the other one was returned for a touchdown. So, you know, this defense really does get after it. Once you think about those numbers, I mean, they do give up. They do bend a lot, but they don't always totally break. They haven't broken this year so far in terms of giving up points. This is the most points they've given up all season, 42. The least they've given up is 7.
You know, they have given up 42 points, but they've also put up 49 so far.
Mabry with the carry there. He gets close to the goal line. They're not giving the signal yet. They're going to mark him down just short.
24, James Mabry on the carry for Mooresville.
James Mabry with that carry. He inches the Pioneers closer to the promised land again.
Colin, you know the only way to excuse giving up 42 points from your defense is putting up 49 more and counting here as we keep going.
Yeah, I mean, that's really the only answer you got. I mean, last season, the Pioneers surrendered 40 points alone in the first half. And the Plainfield defense right here stacks up Mabry before he can break into the end zone. Good defensive stand by the Quakers. And it'll be 4th and goal now for the Pioneers. So, and as you heard, number 40, Jacob Platt in there to make the stop. The linebacker for Plainfield getting in there. And here comes the kicker of Mooresville. Looks like they're not going to take any chances here and turn the ball over without a score. And Plainfield takes a timeout. That's their first timeout taken of the half. So, Nathaniel, as we were talking about, Yeah, it's all Plainfield really stuck it to Mooresville last season. They went into their house and they just absolutely dominated. 40 points in the first half. That is just unheard of. Your defense, like you said, wins championships, and your defense is not really going to help you win any football games if they're giving up 40 points in one half.
Yeah, exactly, and it appears that Mooresville's come back this year with that in mind, and of course they've still given up 42, but they're trying to stomp on the throat here, and as they're knocking with 3 minutes left, the score is 49-42. Bring up 4th and 1.
Looking, sorry to interrupt you, Nathaniel, but looking at some of these numbers, the offense, there were multiple players at quarterback for Plainfield last season, and right now, going to take a break from that story for a moment as it is 4th and goal for the Pioneers, and the Plainfield crowd is on their feet. They hand off to Mabry. Mabry is close. They're going to stop him. The Plainfield defense stopped him from breaking into the end zone, and the Pioneers turn it over on 4th and goal.
Man, that is one thing we haven't seen all night is a nice defensive stand, and it comes at a perfect time for these Plainfield Quakers.
And a flag flies in at the end of the play. That's an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty on the Pioneers. So not only do they turn it over on 4th and goal, they give up some good field position. They give a cushion to Plainfield to start their drive and potentially tie this football game with 2 minutes and 57 seconds to go. Score 49, Plainfield 42 with the Pioneers on top, but Plainfield with the football and 2 timeouts left to drive the length of the field.
Now, as we look in this last drive for Plainfield, they were pinned. Pinning theirs between their 2 to 3 yard line, and they forced the Mooresville defense forced a fumble. They would have had a similar situation if it weren't for this unsportsmanlike call. They really shot themselves in the foot for a second time in this quarter.
Yeah, the interception first thrown by Carson Goodman, that's his second interception of the year. And the big return by Hunter Harbick. Right here, the run to Gaudia, who has a big hole, and he nearly picks up the first down. He does actually pick up the first down. Gain of 11 on that play from Gaudia. He sets the Plainfield offense up 1st and 10 at the 15-yard line. They bring it up to the 25. Gaudia gets the call again. He runs up to the left side of the defense, and he gets about 4 or 5 on that play. Quick offense set for Plainfield with 2:30 to go in the fourth quarter. 42-49 the score. Pioneers on top. Plainfield trying to break into the end zone to tie the football game. Moyers rolls out to the right.
Got a guy open.
He rolls it downfield, and it's incomplete. Intended for number 16, Gage Henry, in on the coverage. Number 14, Gavin Evans of the Pioneers.
Now, Colin, I know this is a long ways away, but theoretically, if the Quakers were able to score this touchdown, what would you think they'd do between a field goal to tie it or this 2-point conversion, maybe out of the Wildcat to win the game?
Well, I feel like they've started to slow down the Pioneers just a little bit. And, right now Moyers has to get rid of it. He gets rid of it to Gaudia. It's incomplete. And that now sets up a 4th down and 6 for the Plainfield Quakers. With 2 minutes and 9 seconds to go and trailing by 7, Plainfield facing a 4th down and 6. Trying to keep this drive alive. Desperately, the Mooresville crowd on their feet, trying to cause as much noise as they can. Try to shake up the Plainfield offense, so he goes shotgun formation. Moyers takes the snap. He steps up in the pocket. Pressure coming. Rolls to his right. He's going to be brought down, and the ball is free. The ball is free and picked up by the Pioneers. With 1:59 to go, the Mooresville Pioneers force another turnover. And the pressure finally gets to Aiden Moyers for the second sack of the game.
You know, Colin, it seems like every time one of these teams does something good or, on the contrary, something bad, then they respond and do the flip side, as this time Mooresville does not convert the 4th and 1 at the goal line, but they are able to get the fumble, and now they're set up nicely at about their 10-yard line.
So with 1:59, they could easily let this time tick off the clock and walk out of Plainfield with a victory to keep their undefeated season alive at 3-0. But still, anything could happen like we talked about, you know. We saw some pretty crazy stuff in this football game tonight. And a timeout was taken after the kneel down from Carson Goodman. And
Plainfield has 2 timeouts left after that first one called. Looking into this conference, just a scoring update. The final score for Decatur Central is 28. They beat Whiteland by Whiteland 28-14. Martinsville, the final there is 29-8 against Greenwood, and then Franklin Community is up 32-21 against Perry Meridian. That game's still going on.
Well, yeah, definitely is some great action going on around the conference. And Nathaniel, Plainfield only has 1 timeout left. I don't know if you noticed that, but, I mean, that's okay, man. You know, it's been a long night, and it's been a crazy night, too. I mean, both teams have been slugging each other back and forth. I mean, we've seen some pretty crazy things happen in this football game. I wouldn't be surprised if something insane happens here. I kind of jinxed the John Iman kickoff return at the end of the first quarter, and that really set the tone for the way that quarter went. It kind of set the tone for how this game was going to go, you know, throughout as a whole. And right now, the Pioneers in very good position to win this football game. They got Mabry in the backfield and Goodman under center. 15 seconds on the play clock. They do hand off to Mabry. Mabry trucking ahead, and he is eventually brought down just before he can pick up any more yards. He tried to go to the left side of the defense. And now 1 minute and 46 seconds showing on the clock. 42-49 the score still. Pioneers still on top for Mooresville, and a timeout taken by Plainfield.
No timeouts left by either team now. This will bring up 3rd down for Mooresville.
So it's a 3rd down. It's a 3rd down and goal to go for Goodman and company of Mooresville. They're inside the red zone, lined up inside the 10-yard line at the 8. And Nathaniel, facing a 3rd down, what do you think they should try to do here? Neither team has a timeout left. I don't think there's enough time to where you can just kneel down and let these remaining seconds tick off the clock, especially on 3rd down.
Yeah, well, what you do here is you run it right up the middle, and if you cannot pick up the first down or the touchdown, then you at least let 25 more seconds run down off the clock. As the offense is lining up to the right hash mark, near side. Ball's on about the 7-yard line. I formation is
right here.
Handoff kick to the outside.
Marbury gets the carry. He goes down on the right side of the line. He picks up a couple on that play. It's not going to be enough for a first down, but the looks like the Mooresville kick team is going to come out and try to put 3 on the board to seal this one and let the remaining seconds, with 1:19 left to go.
The clock should run down to about a minute left with the play clock standing at 13 now, 12-11.
And right here, the kick.
5 seconds left on the play clock.
Oh, and the kick is up, and it is good. The kick from Christian Swigert makes it a 2-possession game. 10-point ball game, 52-42, with a minute to go in the fourth quarter. Plainfield on bottom. And you got to give credit to Plainfield. These players for the Red Pride have really just fought their heart out. You know, they really took control of this whole game throughout the first half and a little bit through the third quarter, but then the momentum shifted. You could feel it in the crowd and the way both teams were playing. Both teams kind of got shaky. The turnovers started coming out. a lot of those miscues just started happening, and I think that's just because a lot of the guys got tired. But credit to Tavian Gaudia for really just putting the Quakers on his back and trying to keep them in this football game. He had 3 touchdowns on the year coming into this game, and he scored well over 3 touchdowns tonight. Nathaniel, it's we don't have the exact numbers because nobody's been keeping stats, but from what we've seen, it's just Gaudia has been a sensational athlete for the Plainfield Quakers, but unfortunately, the Quakers are going to drop to 1-2 on the year with a minute left and trailing by 10. Logan Burden is back to receive this kick, and Swigert has it teed up, ready to go. And right here, Swigert sends this one deep, and that one's going to sail in the end zone for a touchback. And Mooresville can already feel the celebration coming on. Their student section getting a little rowdy over there on the sideline where the Pioneers are residing. And over here, we're on the Plainfield side. It's definitely flat. A lot of students are already clearing out of the student section, and a lot of the fans are already heading for the exits, knowing their team fought very hard. I mean, credit to them. They did. It's not like they were blown out or anything. They scored 42 points. I mean, that in itself is an accomplishment to do, especially with the kind of team that Mooresville is this year. They have a lot of potential and a lot of room to grow. And this time, Moyers, and he has to get rid of it before he's swung to the ground by the big defensive lineman and number 30, Clayton Walls.
Some nice pressure there by Mooresville. If they can keep it up for the rest of the night, they should be able to come out with a win, up 52-42.
Well, the incomplete pass error sets up a 2nd down and 10. 56 seconds to go. 42-52 the score. Mooresville leading by 10. Shotgun snap to Moyers. Moyers steps up to avoids another hit, and this time he fires one incomplete intended for Gage Henry. And as a 51 seconds stand on the clock, 3rd down and 10 for Plainfield. The Red Pride, they weren't able to defend home field tonight, but that's definitely a bit questionable from last year where they only lost 1 game at home. I mean, this year they've lost 2 at home, their first one being, of course, that very powerful Avon team. And this time, Logan Burden gets a big carry down the right sideline. He gets pushed out of bounds by number 14 of Mooresville. That's Gavin Evans.
Huge gain, comes in a nice time on 3rd down. 3rd and 10 converted into a 1st down on the other side of the field now.
So now the 42 seconds standing on the clock, it's going to tick off. Actually, it won't because Burnham ran out of bounds to preserve seconds. And the snap here to Moyers on the play action. That's caught by Cade Ritter. Ritter gets out of bounds. That's
nice
another 1st down.
Bounds there. Throughout the night, we've had a lot of these high school players who are playing heads-up football, stepping out of bounds to stop the clock for most of the night when it's needed.
Yeah, it's been a hard-fought game, but ultimately a heartbreaker if you say for Plainfield. They were highly anticipated to most likely win this football game, but this year it's definitely different. And this one's intercepted! Intercepted by number 1, Dane Stevenson. He's got blockers in front of him, being chased from behind down to the 40-yard line, and that one is going to put this one away for sure. The sophomore coming away with the interception, and that will most likely preserve the 10-point victory for Mooresville. You take the knee down, let this one tick off, and Mooresville gets revenge from last season when they were thumped at home by 40. This year they win by 10. And they didn't give up 40 points in the first half. They gave up 42 points altogether, so that's definitely a big improvement from last season.
On that last interception return, what you'd like to see is the guy gets the interception and drops to the ground, prevents any turnover or any big play from the other side. But it won't come to matter here. 17 seconds are ticking off the clock as the final kneel down was just held.
So that's the end of this one from Plainfield, Indiana. Thank you for joining tonight's broadcast as the Plainfield Red Pride Quakers fall to 1-2 on the year. And Mooresville keeps their undefeated streak alive, now standing at 3 games. And it was definitely a hard-fought game for both teams. See you back next Friday. So each team will take on another lucky opponent. Nathaniel, do you think you could look that up real quick as to who the Plainfield Quakers will be playing next, and the Mooresville Pioneers will be also playing as well? He's getting that loaded in here real quick on Max Preps. They will be at Perry Meridian next Friday. Perry Meridian, a good football team, but Plainfield definitely a tough one to deal with. So now we'll take a look and see who Mooresville will be playing. Once again, that game, Plainfield will be playing next Friday at Perry Meridian. We'll get to see who Mooresville gets to play. It's loading in here real quick. They will be playing Greenwood. And Greenwood, I believe, won their game tonight.
No, Greenwood actually lost 29-8 to
wow.
Martinsville.
Well, definitely a shocker, kind of right there. Who are they going against?
Martinsville, and they lost 29-8, as I said. Decatur Central was able to put away Whiteland 28-14. Obviously, here Mooresville just beat Plainfield 52-42, and the Perry Meridian Frankfort Community game still going on. Frankfort Community right now up 32-21.
All right, thanks, Nathaniel. Well, that does it for tonight's broadcast of Plainfield football, where the Quakers fall short at home at 42-52 to the Mooresville Pioneers, who are on a tear this year after having a disappointing season last year. Starting off 3-0, previously 0-8 on the start last year, but looking to turn things around. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Colin Bruns alongside Nathaniel Finch here at Audio Sports Online.